Oh, it's good friends, good games. It is the 5th of November. It is 12:23 on the West Coast, 3:33 or 3:23 on the East Coast. Here we go. It is on November 5th. Here we go. Here's the crew. As always, we got Zenith down on the bottom. Dill to my virtual left. What is that thing, Zenith? What is that?
It's the knob.
It's a massage roller.
That's not the only thing getting massaged.
But there's nothing more massaging than, just some gentle wooden balls just grazing against your neck.
Lovely.
Hold this thing like Thor's hammer, and show the.
Hold it like Thor's hammer, the mighty hammer of balls.
Look at that. That's Molinear if I ever seen it.
Look, it rolls.
It rolls. I see it rolling.
That thing. Where did you get that?
Good question. It was given to me.
Why am I not surprised?
I was like, why did you get me a penis? Oh, that's actually a massage roller.
It's just a massage.
It's actually effective.
It is.
Yep.
It's
I wouldn't
super
have
effective.
it on my desk if it wasn't effective.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if it's phallic shaped.
So if you don't know, if you're listening right now in the audio world here, if you're an audio listener, Zenith has this massager here that we'll just say for layman's terms looks very phallic.
It doesn't vibrate.
It does not vibrate, but it is literally hardwood.
There.
Yeah.
It is a hard wooden.
Can't be the only hard word that I'm packing here in this house.
It's literally a hard wooden phallic device used to
Yes.
massage. Well, on that note, I can't.
I'm getting fired, aren't I?
No, I tried to piss before the thing started, and I couldn't piss because I was just laughing at this thing you showed us. And I was like,
Yeah, just get it all out of your system right in your chair.
yeah.
Penis.
Jesus. See, the beauty of multi-track recording like we're doing here is we could just cut out what Dill just said.
Oh, really?
Yep. You are sounding a little bit gainy now, though, Dill.
I am?
Oh, it's only when you raise the voice. Never mind.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, it's only when you're grunting.
Thanks, Morgan.
Boys, how you been?
Fine. Working, editing, gaming.
You got a little bit of the face fuzz going. He's doing it, ladies.
Yeah,
He's doing it.
It'll
gonna
last until
be
tomorrow.
extra
and then I'm
less
shaving
single after.
Do you not like it?
Grows that out.
It itches. I don't like the itch.
That it's always gonna like the first
I know.
run is just itches, and then you feel miserable.
Even the longest I've had it grown out, it itches like crazy, and my brain just can't take it, and I immediately shave it off.
That's fair enough. We understand. I gotta cut this thing down. I need to go get one of like the actual beard trimmers instead of doing the scissor thing.
Mhm.
I gotta just zzz, and give it a good help.
Do you not have how to do it for you?
I enjoy trimming my beard with scissors because I get right in there and I'll run the blade along my beard and figure out this hair is like a little bit longer than the other ones, even though it's like just a millimeter or two.
You go short though, like you get yours down to it's just right there. Like me, I got mine's got some length on it. But yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah, working, doing the whole thing on my end. Just it's crazy, just how busy I've been.
I feel that. I've been so tired. Working on store updates. Going through mod applications. I was also looking for work, and I've been so busy with so many things that I kind of forget everything that we're working on.
And then you're just reach the point where you're just I need to unwind. Like I have no strength. Like you're just Pal was very, very nice, and she moved our date night aside and she spent a day with her mom because I'm just exhausted. Like it's one of those things where it's like you don't have time for yourself to just like unwind and settle, and you don't have any time to do the things that you wanted to do for yourself, like play games or just, watch TV or read your book or whatever. Like you just didn't have time. So she was nice enough to just give me a day to just decompress a little, and it actually helped a lot.
Yep.
But on that note of, just stressed and tired and all that stuff, we reached a momentous moment here, boys.
Yep.
This is the last one before vacation.
Yeah.
We don't come back after this one. We don't come back till the new year. Obviously, we'll probably do some other things, but we will not have scheduled podcasts until we come back, because obviously the holidays are difficult to schedule when you have 4 to 5 people, doing the thing. And then, so holidays are going to be hard. The holidays are tough to schedule. So we were like, yeah, we'll all go on break.
Yeah.
And then that'll give me the time to catch up on everything here and get everything up to date and caught up. So when we start the new year, it'll be fresh. But we got some toys.
Oh, like this one?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Zen's got a
I
toy.
mean, they're both portable. Where'd I put it? It's over there. But let's see. Hang tight, boys. I'm gonna roll over this cable.
Jesus.
And it's gonna make a disaster.
He's off the poop.
I am not commenting on that. Nope. Yeah, that's a different kind of stream deck.
Ooh.
Sorry if I ruined this surprise. I did not ruin this surprise.
You're gonna be jealous. Mine comes in a case.
Ooh.
It does.
Yeah.
Show us the goods.
What's the goods? Look at that, boys.
Ah.
It's a
Nice.
box.
It's a box. If you don't know or you're listening right now, this is a case with the Steam Deck logo on it.
Ooh, did you get yourself a wooden penis too?
Yeah. Wooden
I
penis all
ordered the
around.
wrong Steam Deck.
Yeah. Limited edition Steam Deck.
Why was it
wooden penis.
why was it reading it to me in inches and not gigs?
Damn.
Look at, there you go, guys. Look at that. Look at that monster.
Oh my god, you can see our faces.
Oh,
Look at that. You can see your faces. Oh.
No.
that looks so good.
So this thing, I can tell you right now, if you have I know you guys have Nintendo Switches.
Yeah.
This thing
Mine's
is
all
about a Nintendo Switch and a half
Okay.
in terms of size. Maybe a Nintendo Switch and a quarter. But
Okay.
you could see, like, right there, it's actually pretty beefy
Ooh,
in
even got
hand.
back buttons on it.
Yeah, it's got the back trigger buttons on it. It's pretty beefy in hand.
I like that it has like a really nice amount of gloss too.
Yeah.
It's
Are those vents
there is
on
a
the
screen
back as
protector
well?
on it. There's a screen protector on this, and I bought one of those rubber like silicone grips
Yeah.
that go around the whole housing. Because if you drop this thing,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's not going to be fun. It's going to
No.
thunk. But this thing will go, since we'll start segueing into games here.
Yeah.
This thing is going to be game changing, at least in my eyes. This thing's going to be game
Okay.
changing. I've played with it for a few hours over the course of the week. I took it to the laundromat. I did some Witcher on it.
Nice.
Which leads us into video games. Since we're segueing in here, leads us into
Go on,
video
talk.
games. So, this has been majority of what I've been spending my time with a good portion this week. It's an incredible device. This is literally probably going to be one of those. I hope it does. This is probably going to be one of those game-changing devices, because I did a little hackery myself. I opened it up. I installed a 512 hard drive on my own. So I had 512 gigs of storage. It's all up and running. We got a SD card in here. I haven't done any of the Nintendo stuff yet, but this is all just my experience with Steam and Steam games.
Okay.
Took it to the laundromat. 2.5 hours of The Witcher. Not one issue.
Nice.
Set everything to medium. Battery held up just fine. The game runs perfectly fine on a Steam Deck. It's smooth. It's fluid. The sound, if you the speakers built into this thing are fantastic. They're not like tinny or muffly or anything like that. They're clear. They're not
That's
booming
good.
bass loud, but they're more than serviceable.
Yeah, you think with the power you can get from a with the Stream Deck, with the Steam Deck,
Stream
that like
time.
Nintendo can, do something with their next hardware, because like the technology is there. You can get some really good power out of the handheld devices. Why,
I'll get to that thing there. So,
yeah.
It's definitely got the power to play a good chunk of your Steam games. I did The Witcher mostly, and The Witcher, while it's older, it's still a beefy game in terms of performance and resources needed to run it, etc., etc. It's a beefy game, and this thing handled it just fine. We played a little bit of Stray on it. Stray, which is a lighter game, runs great. I got it at 60 frames a second. Witcher, I ran it at 30 for the saving of power and just heat. Because keep in mind, this is a little PC in your hands, so it does get hot if you're cranking it. But just the fact that I can go, and if your games do the Steam Cloud, your saves are seamless. I can play at home on my PC, and then I can go to the laundromat, load the game right up, and it's going to load from the same save. And that's pretty awesome. Because I can literally just pick up and go. Bluetooth, it's got Bluetooth on it. I paired my high-end, Sony headphones to it. No issues whatsoever. Your Galaxy Buds, your AirPods, whatever you want to, hook up, works perfectly fine. There is some stuff that does not work on Steam Deck yet, but I think Valve is being really helpful with these things. Is one, if you go to the Steam page now, I think there's a great, I think their term is great on deck. So it's already a list by algorithm of pre-populated games that will work near perfectly on a Steam Deck. So they're working that out, and they're adding more games as you go along. Also, too, if you go to try to install a game from your library that's in your Steam library on the deck and it's not fully compatible, it'll either tell you with an X or it'll tell you with like a yellow exclamation if there's an issue. You can see what the issue actually is and why the deck isn't fully supported.
Okay.
Or what issue the deck might have. So, for example, Resident Evil Village has an exclamation point on it. And it could be something as simple where the Resident Evil Village, it was simply said there's a couple of audio issues. The game didn't say anything about the game not being playable, but it's like, oh, there's some audio issues. Some of the Final Fantasies, like Final Fantasy X, which I was actually looking at because I wanted to buy it and install it. Exclamation point, but all it said is there's some instances where the text might be too small.
I'm gonna say, difficult to read. Final Fantasy, if you try playing 15 on it.
I have not tried playing 15 on it.
Because 15 is quite a demanding Final Fantasy game as already, so got to give it a go.
Yeah, I'll try that too. But yeah, it could be something as little as like text may be difficult to read, or some segments of the game require the keyboard. You'll have to bring the keyboard up to type in whatever. It basically kind of takes you out of the game to do this function, but the game is playable.
Right.
And then if it's got a green check mark, it works. So they're doing a lot to kind of help get this device, or make this device, I guess, quote unquote, seamless.
Yeah.
From a dev
really
standpoint.
Cool.
Yeah, from a dev standpoint, which I hope is what happens with this, is with the Steam Deck, now there's some kind of baseline that developers should shoot for when releasing their games on PC. It's like, okay, now we have this player base, I don't know how many Valve has sold of these things, but I'd imagine there's like, oh, they've sold 1 million Steam Decks. That's a huge player base that on PC that we want to start, curating for and make these games playable on, because people will buy it. So that's, I think, that's the biggest thing I'm looking for, is this base Steam line for Steam on PC development and PC ports, because we've gotten this weird thing where they run flawlessly on console, but then PC, they're all over the place. Some games require huge requirements to get the game to run, like Cyberpunk did in the beginning.
Yep. Whereas
something like what was it that ran really, really well and there was no issues? Or for example, like the Spider-Man runs perfectly fine on PC versus and its console versions, right? There's no real true discrepancy there. So at least now we can get some kind of baseline for PC requirements and how they should be when they're ported. And then on top of that, the developers hopefully take Steam more seriously. Like integrate Steam more into your development cycle and make it just the same as a console release, put the same amount of care and effort into it, because devices like this are in people's hands now, and that's revenue that they could miss out on if they don't. If it was me and there was like a parent that didn't have much money, and this will come into the argument with or not the argument here, but Zenith's statement about Nintendo, the biggest thing here is price point. Nintendo always aims for this $200 to $250 price point because Nintendo likes to cater to families, especially families on a budget. They do like to cater to that market. That's why the Wii was, I think, what was a Wii, $150 or $200, something like that when it came out. It was under $300. I know that because the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 3 and stuff at the time were. PlayStation 3 was $600.
$250 when it was first released.
The Wii. Okay, so it was under $300.
Yeah, Nintendo's really good at making sure that their hardware is cheap to develop, but they also bank on most of their money being made via the games as opposed to their hardware itself.
Right, and I think rightfully so. They're the only IP, I think, that can pull that weight. You want to play Mario? You're going to need a Nintendo. You want to play Zelda? You need a Nintendo device. I don't think Sony and Microsoft have the weight to do that yet.
Yeah, but with Sony and Microsoft, I can't remember which console exactly, but weren't like Xboxes actually being sold at a loss as opposed to because it costs too much to develop them as opposed to how much they sell?
I think both of them were.
I think both of them, yeah.
Especially the PlayStation 3 was sold at a loss, period, because that thing had an enormous price point at the time. $600 was unheard of for a console.
Yep.
And I think the Xbox 360, was only like $300 or something like that. $350.
I think it was $300, $350, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Which the PlayStation 3 was double. So, but Nintendo, again, they're at that $200.
$400 apparently for an Xbox 360.
Right. So $400 still. That was, but versus $600 for PlayStation 3, most people would be like, oh, let's just jump on the Xbox boat. It's cheaper. As much as the enthusiasts, make changes in the thing, what it really comes down to between all these companies, and it always will be, is families.
Yeah.
And parents. How many consoles can we get in homes? They don't care about the guy with the young professional making, high five, low six figures a year like that. They know they're going to sell him one. It's like, how many families can we get to buy these things at Christmas for their kids? Because that's all player base. So yeah, $600 is a huge hurdle to climb back then. But that brings me back to this point. The Switch is what is it now? $250, right? Still for the OLED?
Yeah.
So,
I think so.
We're looking at $250 for an OLED. Or $300, something like that. But we're looking between $250 to $300 for a Nintendo Switch. Yes, the system is at this point, it's long in the tooth. It was already semi-underpowered when it was released, but it was innovative, which is why it sold so much.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. The other thing is, on Steam's end, though, the high end of this is $600. $650 for the top end model of this. The low end model is $399.
Right.
So and the best thing about the Steam Deck is with Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStations, the thing you can't do on those consoles is change the quality of the game. Whereas Steam Deck,
right,
you don't have to worry about. I mean, yes, you could get like new hardware when it comes out, but like you can just change it to alter the games.
You can alter the game you can adjust settings into the game to reduce power, to reduce heat, and stuff like that, because there are those configurations in there. And with Valve doing their legwork and testing it, and testing some of these games to see how they run, and giving like an actual consensus report of what works and what doesn't, actually really helps the consumer in this market too. I would say if you're a parent and you can't afford the $1,000, actually it's probably more like $2,000 nowadays.
Yeah.
If you can't afford the $2,000 gaming rig that your kid would be asking for, but they want to kind of get into that Steam PC thing,
Yep.
this is the way I would go. I would drop the $650 and get your kid one of these because they have a dock coming too.
True.
You could get a dock. It pairs with a 360 controller. It pairs with any Xbox-based Bluetooth controller through USB, etc. also. So like you can literally do this. And you could be in that Steam PC market and do it on the go. I was literally blown away by this thing. So I hope Valve sticks with it, because Valve has kind of a track record of putting things wayside when they don't.
If they sell enough of them and there's enough attention for them, yeah. We haven't seen the sale figures though, have we, for the Switch, for the Steam Deck? So
I don't believe so yet. We probably won't know until the first quarter. They're gonna wait till after the holidays to see how many of these things they sold during the holidays.
Yeah.
But this thing can be a game changer. It really is a fantastic device and probably one of the better investments I've made. Now I'm at the point now where I look at it as like, do I really need to go buy stuff on PlayStation and stuff anymore? Aside from the exclusives like The Last of Us, blah, 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 blah. Or like Ragnarok. We're not going to see Ragnarok on PC for at least a year.
Yeah. I think it said that Sony are aiming to make it like a day release for PC as well as PlayStation, but for their exclusives, it's most likely going to be like a full year before they could release it on PC. But
there's a lot of third-party stuff now where I look at it like, do I even need to buy it on a PlayStation? I can buy it on Steam, play it at home, play it on the deck, take it wherever I go. I can, and it's weird too, because I'm going to correlate this when I first bought the Kindle.
Yeah.
When I first bought the Kindle, I wasn't reading as much. I read still quite a bit, but I wasn't reading as much, right? I get a Kindle and then I find myself reading way more because of so portable it is and how much I have access to on this little device. I'm getting the same vibes here where it's like, oh, I can buy more games on Steam and then just pick up and go.
Also Steam sales. You can pick up any kind of games.
Yeah, you can get tons of games, and there's tons of indie stuff. Like this, kudos to Valve. I hope they stick with it and they actually keep updating the hardware and, improving the designs and all that kind of stuff, because they really do have a winning product. I'm blown away by it. The fact that I can sit and just play The Witcher in bed and relax, because that's the other thing too. I don't want to sit at a PC for, 40 hours to 50 hours to finish a game. You know what I mean? Which I don't know how some.
I can't really comment on that. I just spent like 87 hours playing Elden Ring the second time.
Sitting at a PC though, right? Like just yeah. See, I don't know, but like I said, the fact that I took it to the laundromat with me and there was no issue. Like
that's cool.
Yeah, I was like,
cool.
This is awesome. Cool. Yeah, I was like, this is awesome, and then just rolled with it. You boys have been playing some games?
Yeah.
Look, we got a hearty list.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this list. Just before we get started in the game segment, I know I kind of went on about the Steam Deck. Hearts and prayers go out to Hannah. Dustin's brother isn't doing too well right now, so Hannah's going to be off for a bit while they, put family first, and that is more than okay with me. So hearts and prayers go out to them. Leshki's not feeling well today, so she'll be off, but we'll see them again very, very soon. So rest up, take care of your families, get what you need to get worked out, and we'll talk to you guys soon. And then let's see here. Video games. All right, Zenith. So it looks like when I'm looking at the list here, we've all been playing the same stuff, kind of. So we'll save that part for the end here. But Zenith's got his Bloodborne run going. How's the Bloodborne run?
So I start off, it was really rough because I'm the kind of person that cowers behind a shield in these kinds of games. Bloodborne is so hard to adjust to because like people are saying, oh, parry. It's like, all right, I'm gonna parry, I'm gonna shoot this big monster in the face. What do you mean it doesn't work? Okay, oh, now everyone's asking me to stagger it, and it's a struggle. I'm so fucking bad at the game.
Zen, Rule 1 of playing a Soulsborne game: ignore the chat. Just ignore them.
No, chat is actually what helped me get through it, because I started getting better when I stopped using because I had the big hammer, and I would just bonk the crap out of my enemies.
It's heavy though, isn't it?
It just wasn't working, so I switched to saw blade, and I have this a thing where I do 2 or 3 hits, then I switch on over to the elongated version for extra damage, and I'm just like, why is this somehow way easier?
Because it depends on your fight style. If your fight style is better with the soul blade, then use the soul blade.
Each game, because I know we ranked them last podcast. Each game, though, is kind of designed for you to take the game a certain way, right? The whole idea behind these is, for example, Zenith's problem is he hides behind a shield. If you're that type of player, though, but Bloodborne forces you to get Bloodborne sounds like the type of game that forces you to be offensive.
Bloodborne has shields? I don't think Bloodborne has shields. The main defense is just using your gun to parry them and hopefully get a good hit on them.
Yeah, the game forces you to be aggressive and get right in there, because when you lose health, you have the opportunity to attack enemies and try and recuperate some of your lost health, as long as you don't get hit while you're trying to wail on the enemy, which is really tough, because sometimes I don't know the balance between, all right, get in there, get some of your health, get some damage going, with all right, we have to back out of here because it's getting a bit too dicey in here. It's really tough to learn, because going from someone that's more cautious, just where I allow the enemies to play my game or fall into my strategy, where I kite them out, or I'll put them in a position where I use the environment to my advantage. You can't do that in Bloodborne. The game does not give a fuck about whether you're in fact, it's kind of against you the more you're spending just running away, because they'll find a way to just jump right in there, because even roll the roll dodge is just weird in this game. There's very little iframes. It's I've had to change an awful lot, but I'm starting to get it, thanks to my people in chat. So ignoring chat was actually would have gotten me in trouble, because I've had some very helpful people get me.
Is Bloodborne one of those full investment games, or is it kind of like Elden Ring, where I can play it for a couple hours and then here and there and then come back to it, or is it once you're in, you're in?
I would say once you're in with Bloodborne. If you play it and start playing it for a month, you'll lose track of wherever you were, basically, what you were up to.
It's a commitment about your side quests and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a commitment game. All right.
Yeah.
Because it's on my list of things. I've had that game on my shelf for years and I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, it's a rough ride. I will say this, because I know a bunch of people that rage quit the game before they finished it. I almost did.
I rage quit the game for a
that's
month
not you.
because of the DLC alone.
That's neither of you guys. Neither of you guys are rage quitters. You.
No. That's the thing. I did go back to it eventually after a month off from it. I just I got so mad at the first boss in the DLC that I just couldn't play it for a while. I had to back away from it because I was getting too mad.
I had an easy time with the first boss of the DLC from.
I did not.
You mentioned that.
I thought the first boss was harder than the last boss in the DLC.
The thing that kind of screwed me over was the final boss of the game, or one of the later bosses of the DLC. Because at that point, it's I'm never beating this game. I'm never going to be good at parrying. Get me the hell out of here. I'm playing something else. And I never came back to it until 4.5 years later.
So truth be told, one of the biggest things, the problems I had where I didn't play these games when I was streaming, I didn't play your Dark Souls or any of those kinds of things when I was streaming. I always felt this immense pressure by chat, even though chat wasn't doing anything. But I always felt this immense pressure with chat being there, being oh, if I don't do this, I'm no one's going to want to watch this because it's just not good. I'm not good at this game. No one's going to want to sit and watch it. I look like an idiot trying to get through this thing through the 50th time or whatever. Once I stopped doing that and I tried these games in my own comfort zone, in my own home, at my chair, and I could sit and focus, because you have to process these things. These games, you have to process what's happening. Why am I dying? Oh, let me figure out all these avenues of why I would possibly be dying.
That's exactly it.
And you have to process it. And I cannot do that. I cannot do that in a stream.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1, I didn't enjoy at all until I played it on my own.
I still hate that goddamn game.
I still don't like the series, don't like the games, but I still managed to beat it, finish it, when by playing it on my own time, because I didn't feel that pressure. I didn't feel that people were like judging my every move and whatnot. So I fully get it.
Yeah, it's just like there was this immense pressure, like Dark Souls 3, where that was the only game I think I rage quit on stream was Dark Souls 3, because I couldn't get past that first.
Dark Souls
first
3
boss.
is the easiest one in the trilogy, in my personal opinion.
Dark Souls 2 is the easiest one in the trilogy.
Dark Souls 2.
Well, here we go.
Weird mechanics, no.
Dill.
Let's go.
OG Dark Souls 2. OG Dark Souls 2.
I've
Skull
not
of the
played.
First Sin?
I've
Yes.
not played OG Dark Souls 2. I only have played Skull of the First Sin. So that's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
OG Dark Souls 2 is so pathetically easy. I think I was bad at Dark Souls, and I went through like the last half of the game, maybe dying like 3-4 times.
See, I found the first one. I progressed further in the first one than I did the third one. So
First one is still got the record for me for the most deaths in a Souls.
maybe it's
game.
the timing and the pacing, because I feel like the third one moves faster.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
You move a lot faster. Like even if you're like wearing heavy armor, you still kind of like have a faster roll dodge or reaction time.
Yeah. So
Like it feels more realistic. Whereas I think with Dark Souls 1 is because like it's one of the earlier games they were trying to kind of introduce people to the world of Souls games.
Yeah.
But once you get further on, like when you get to like Blighttown, you're being hit with just challenges that will make you stop playing the game at an early point in the game. You're still going to make some progress.
Yeah.
But you're going to be stonewalled by Blighttown.
yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't know what it was with that third game, but that was the first one where I said, fuck it, I'm not doing this. Like I don't have the mental capacity right now to handle this for the patient, so I just like clicked it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bloodborne's been on my list, and if it's a commitment one, it looks like I'll put this in the list for next year to like finally sit and get this done. There's so many damn games to play. Like,
I've pre-ordered a bunch of games recently.
what's your pre-order bill right now, Dill? Like,
Sonic
not how much you
Frontiers.
paid, but not how much you put down, but the whole thing.
Sonic Frontiers, which comes out on Tuesday. God of War Ragnarok, which comes out Wednesday. Both Pokemon games, which come out on the 18th. And I'm probably going to be pre-ordering the Callisto Protocol as well when that comes out in December.
So you're what, like $400 in games? $450 in game, give or take?
No, 80. Probably somewhere like 200 to 250.
Dang.
Yeah.
I'm finally catching up on all my pre-orders that I didn't have to pay for. I had $500 in trade credit from like a year and a half ago.
Ooh.
Nice.
You went through this list once, but like refresh the memory. What was the list again? He doesn't even know.
I forget, but it's Elden Ring, it was Kirby, it was Super Mario Party, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I believe. I got a Switch Pro controller.
Ooh.
There's like 2 or 3 games that I completely forget.
You'll know when they come. It's like Christmas.
Oh, and Resident Evil 8 was one of them.
Oh,
But,
okay.
So you mentioned there's so many games to play. There's one more game on my list that I'm pretty sure Dill may have heard of.
Okay.
Pokemon Wilds.
Hey, yeah.
Is
That's a good
Pokemon-
segue. Good job.
Is
Thank you.
Pokemon Wilds a mod?
It's basically a fan-made game based off of the system of Pokemon Gold and Silver, so Gen 2.
Yes.
Except where it's an open world Pokemon game where you're trying to go around in a completely AI generated world with different biomes. You have your swamps, you have your savannas, your mountains, volcanoes, blah blah blah. And you're supposed to find Pokemon and try and like craft and build.
I know this game, yeah.
Yeah,
I watched a YouTuber play it, and I was like, "This game's really intriguing. What the fuck?"
Only played it for like a little bit because I wanted to do a bit of a test. It's super fun, and you can get lost in this for like hours.
Ooh,
and I could be playing this next week on stream. So,
yeah.
Wasn't there some Pokemon like MMO that came out this year too?
Yeah,
I thought that's what this was.
There's been a few of them. The last one that I played that I heard was Poke1. That was one that came up where you could literally go through like every single like gen region.
No, I feel like this was a Nintendo one. Like it was a Nintendo release, but
There was a MOBA that's Pokemon Unite.
that's the one I'm thinking of. Okay,
Yeah.
that was an actual Nintendo thing, huh?
Yeah, that's a MOBA, not MMO.
Okay,
No.
I was close.
Because that's like League of Legends meets Pokemon.
It's League, but Pokemon so bad.
I don't care for League of Legends.
How's that?
No,
How
thank
is
you.
that game doing?
I played it for like an hour and didn't care for it.
Okay, straight from the Pokemon.
But it's got
expert's mouth.
Pokemon on the name, Dill. How could
Yeah.
you?
And it's also got so many microtransactions where you can buy all these skins for them and everything.
Oh, fuck that.
Why does a Pokemon
Yeah.
need a skin? Wait.
This
I
is
take that back.
The outfits. They have like outfits you can buy in the store, and I'm just like, I don't care.
What's that one? Is it a cute? Isn't it like a Pikachu in a cute little like doctor's uniform or something
Yeah.
like that floats around? Like, can I do
Yeah.
that?
Probably, I don't know.
You
It's
go to
very
like a
cult
store
community,
and they have
yes.
all kinds of Pikachu plushes and like different outfits.
I mean, I think that's like a general Pokemon center store with that, isn't it?
No, I don't know, but like I'm like, oh, how cute! There's Pikachu in a Link outfit, or you know, like one of those. I'm like, I kind of want this. I don't even like Pikachu.
Zen's like immediately purchase.
No, because
His Amazon wish list. He's checking that GameStop credit.
No, at my
Yeah.
last job, every time I hear microtransactions, I just thought
no.
of just like how much hell I went through. Because we were the kings of microtransactions.
Oh,
And we were the kings of releasing garbage with garbage chances to get them, like loot boxes, gotchas. It was awful. I fucking hate it. So every time I hear loot boxes or microtransactions, I just want to eat myself out of
It's
window.
one of those things where it's like, hey, this is a problem, da 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 da, and then they come back, they're like, yeah, but how's that microtransaction department working? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're paying the bills, but go away. This sucks.
way.
I don't know. With all these regulations coming and all that kind of stuff, that stuff's going to start.
Yeah.
It's got to start going wayside, I
Yeah,
think.
would you believe that like in order for my old job to get away with this stuff, we would purposely not release games on Steam despite using Steam to advertise the game, and then we
Wow.
would have like full on Batman costumes. We just name it like Dark Knight costume, or the Iron Man will be Aluminum Warrior costume. It's like, this is clearly ripping off
Is this
big
Fortnite?
name brands.
clown face burglar.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? Screw what Fortnite is doing, because they're full on ripping it. It's just we didn't, but we did it illegally
Is this
without anyone's consent.
Did we talk about this here where like there was that movie studio that purposely makes movies that are like similar in name with the same concept and stuff just so they show up next to the actual movie you want to like buy on the shelf?
Oh my god! Yeah, I know those.
Yeah, so like there would be one like one of them, the one I never forget it. There was one called like Transmorphers, and it was literally
yes.
like right next to Transformers on the shelf.
Yep.
The only one that was blatantly not correct was there was one just called Street Racer, and it had like the same font and everything.
You know, watched the video literally just yesterday where it was a bunch of just brand knockoffs, and it was someone trying to sell a toy for Toy Story 5. This is a movie that has not come out. And it's
They're
basically
from the future.
and it's basically Woody, but he's all buff in his sheriff costume. It's like, what is this?
He's become a Chad.
Yeah.
Chad
Chad
Woody.
Woody.
I was like, what the but these are super common. It's like transmorphers and it's like
Transmogrifiers.
spooky movie, like stuff that's just literally meant to be right next to like something that someone actually wants to buy on the shelf, we got hot breaking news from the chat here. Apparently Morgan had coffee for the first time and she thinks she did it incorrectly.
Uh-oh. Zen, you want to give her a lecture again?
Why am I not surprised?
What do I want? I want to know what she did. Let's let Morgan chime in here.
Well, let's see. Her first mistake is she doesn't know what a English muffin or a bagel is.
But what her second mistake? Why did you call it a bagel?
Her second mistake is she thinks cake and chocolate is disgusting. And third, her coffee tastes are wrong.
I'm not a big chocolate cake person.
No, like chocolate and cake. She hates cake, all cakes and cookies.
I don't hate chocolate, but like I don't go out of my way to get chocolate.
I'm gonna throw her under the bus.
We have
back up on her too.
At my work, we've been selling these like muffins that are lemon and white chocolate, and they are.
I would eat that shit.
Delicious. They're delicious. They're
I would
so
eat
good.
that shit.
They were so good.
Yeah, but
can you ship me some of those?
Like hot dog water.
Yeah.
She thinks it tastes like hot dog water. Coffee shouldn't taste like hot dog water.
I mean,
it should, but I mean, like you said,
dirt.
If she didn't clean or if she didn't run the water a couple times, you're gonna get that plasticky taste.
Yeah. Oh, and get this, for when she was preparing her coffee in the Keurig machine, when you put the water in the reservoir, she put warm water in it because she thought that she had to heat the water before you put it in the machine. No, you don't.
No. Now let's not judge her.
Built-in thing.
Is Morgan a tea drinker?
No, she doesn't drink tea.
Okay, I was gonna say if they're a tea drinker, that would make that would make sense. Oh, you use hot water. That would make sense. No, you use the coldest water you can possibly get.
Yeah. The coffee machine will heat up the water for you.
I was going to tell you this. So, also congratulations to my girlfriend. The guys here know she passed her exam. She is now state certified. She's a state certified occupational therapy assistant. Congrats to you. As a little celebratory, when I picked her up, we went to this coffee. You know about Third Wave Coffee, right, Zenith?
Yes.
We went to this Third Wave coffee shop and I had this cold brew. These guys infused this cold brew with bourbon.
Ooh.
So now there was no alcoholic buzz or anything, but you can definitely taste this. It tasted like Jim Beam in a coffee, like just a straight bourbon-y taste. And that thing gave me the best little caffeine buzz and it was fantastic. I paid $7 for this coffee, which is way above my price point, but I was like, this is damn good.
Yeah.
You know what's the best way to celebrate? Give yourself a massage.
Yes.
Sorry.
Buy ourselves a wooden massager.
But yeah, so I had bourbon infused cold brew and that shit was fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good.
At my work, we're starting to get all the Christmas menu stuff and everything like that. With all the Christmassy drinks and whatnot. Last year, we were selling a hot chocolate that would be mixed in with Jameson's orange whiskey.
Hell yeah! Give me some of that.
I wished I'd tried it. I should have done, but unfortunately, didn't get a chance to.
You guys are giving me triggers right now. You know how when you quit smoking and then you just smell a cigarette, you're like,
yeah. And this year we have a gin that is literally mince pie flavored.
Ooh,
yeah.
I don't know about that. The worst thing I think I had was I had one of those lemon infused vodkas. I think Grey Goose in them. That shit tasted like
Grey
Pledge.
Goose is not bad. Yeah.
That shit tasted like lemon Pledge. I was like, but I was going to wipe my floors with it. That's what it tasted like. I was just like, fuck it, but I remember, no, you got to do the thing off of the coffee talk here. But yeah, there's a lot of games to play and there's a lot of stuff to do. So Pokemon Wilds, we got the Pokemon MMO with microtransactions, which triggered Zenith, and now he hates anything micro.
Yes.
And then
Everything must be big.
everything must be huge. And
Yes.
then that thing's gonna become the thumbnail for the episode. I'm
no.
Yes,
gambling
please
with it.
do it.
Just how I sat last week when I was editing, I was like, do we go with work infraction or do we go with ass infraction? Like, I can't I can't decide for the algorithm.
Oh
what
my
do we
God.
do?
Quick little note. So on that coffee, I think I just realized what Morgan did wrong.
Please
with it.
please
She
share.
did
What did
wrong.
Morgan do wrong?
She put like 6 teaspoons of milk in it.
Oh. Okay.
So you
That's-
drink breast milk.
Yes, just add more tit water.
So Zenith may do this different, but Zenith, I think you said you use a Keurig, no?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Zenith uses a Keurig, so it's a little bit different. But like for me personally, I do 10 grams of coffee per cup, which is roughly 4 to 6 ounces, depending on
Yeah.
your measurements.
Giant coffee.
Yeah,
Tablespoons. Holy fuck.
Jesus,
Right, yeah.
What,
tablespoons.
girl, what? No,
That's a
so
bit much.
So my personal blend is it's 10 grams of coffee per cup. I usually make about 6 cups worth, but it's usually 2 big ones. So I make about 6 cups worth in the pot, and I use 60 grams of coffee. That's my thing. And then you take the coldest water you can. If you have a Brita filter, put that in the fridge and then use that, and you will get a better taste. Tap water doesn't work as well. And then I'm a cream and sugar person,
Okay.
but I only put maybe I count it like the bartender does. I go 1, 2, 3. It's about 3 tablespoons, give or take. Maybe 2. So that's my thing. And then it's 2 packets of sweetener. That's my personal coffee blend. And I usually get it pretty good. Pal can attest it, and Pal doesn't drink coffee, and she likes my mix.
Yeah.
So, and I also use dark coffees. French roast, dark blend. But yeah, fuck, 6 tablespoons, girl, that's too much.
Yeah.
Would you like some coffee with your creamer?
Yeah.
That's like half the cup is just milk. And not only that, Morgan kind of has a bit of an issue with lactose intolerance.
Oh no.
No,
Have
we're all
fun
dead.
shitting out your ears.
So give that well, if Morgan's using a Keurig, then just do the, 1, 2, and then, packet or 2 of sweetener, and then you're good to go. That's the route I would go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if it makes your life easier, you'll pay a little bit more, but if it makes life easier, use the little pre-sealed creamers,
Yep.
and that'll give you a good idea of the measurement of what you're doing.
What you do is you go to IHOP and then you ask for extra cream and then you just steal it.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do.
I just walk into 7-Eleven and grab it and be like, yeah, thanks, bro. You didn't stir it? She didn't stir it either, guys. This has now become the Make Fun of Morgan Make Coffee podcast. I'm your host, Eric Anthony, and we got Zenith, we got Dill, and we've got our mod / creative individual here on the team that doesn't know how to make any damn coffee.
She's in her mid-30s, but I swear she's like 10 years prior. It's like, come on,
I'm going to make a
Morgan,
mental
get it
note
together.
here. I'm going to make a mental note here right now. We're going to have Morgan on this show.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Which it's not just going to be Morgan. I'm going to get everybody on, and we're all going to do a little. Let's get to know our team.
Yeah.
Oh, have fun.
Yeah,
Have fun.
No, you're going to be here, and you're going to show her some respect.
No, I won't. I mean, yes, sure.
Because I will write you up.
Do that.
I full on bully her.
Sheesh, I can't right now. But anyway,
Sometimes
Morgan.
she needs it. But
All right. Anyway, back to the actual show. Good friends, good games. We are off. Morgan doesn't know how to make coffee.
Yes.
Our weekly show about Morgan doesn't know how to do things. That would actually be a whole podcast. Show Morgan can't do this. Morgan can't do that.
Yeah. We could do a whole like 2 hours on just things that she hasn't tried. We've actually have done that, like talking about food she's never tried. She's never had toast.
What? How?
Anyways, yeah,
Does
back
she
to
have
the show.
bread?
What is this? People are listening right now, like, what does this have to do with video games? But we're so
Nothing.
like, we're so
Good friends.
derailed.
Good, well, good friends.
Good friends, bad taste in coffee.
Good friends pour coffee. We actually do appreciate you, Morgan. I know Zenith may not say it, but we actually really do
Zen's
appreciate
questionable about
you. He's questionable
I
about it.
appreciate you.
No, I know deep
Very
down.
much.
You fuck. You know deep down you appreciate her. You know deep down you do. You would be lost without Morgan.
Ask me later. She kept me up late last night.
that. Ooh.
No, I was trying to work on the store.
You're giving mixed signals here. You're over here
You very
stroking your
much
ball
are.
massager, and then you're like, "Oh, she kept me up late last night."
Were you
Like,
massaging
I
herself?
was trying to update the randomizer, and she's like
Phrasing.
sending me messages. It's like, I
Phrasing.
am never going to go to bed until you stop messaging me. Fuck off.
oh my god! All right,
Oh my god.
Pokemon Wilds. Okay, random fan-made game. I'll fill in for Leshki here. Leshki has been doing the Disney
Ooh.
Dreamlight Valley Scar update, and she's doing it on Steam Deck and PC also. So we
Nice.
hope that's going well for her. I started that thing up and I never played it again.
I've not even delved
I feel like I'm
into
gonna
it.
get sucked into it,
You probably would.
and I'm just like, nope, I don't have time for this.
Mm.
Let's go with Dill here. Dill,
Oh, hi. What?
let's talk about your Elden Ring Yami. What the hell's a Yami run?
It's a dark run. Yomi is Japanese for dark.
I see what happens in the
Mm.
dark run.
I use black flame spells and a katana.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Literally.
Elden
And I
Ring
finished
mods?
it.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine, like, if Dill committed to the bit where he did a dark run where we just saw, like, Dark Dill, where he just dimmed the lights, and then he just developed, like, a dark personality or a dark sense of humor, and he's like, the puppies are no longer cute to me.
What were you saying?
Like,
you were
sit
saying
right
about the
now.
darkness? The darkness is my friend. What you talking about?
Wait, hold on.
My room doesn't get that dark, but I got
Yeah.
this here. I'll be like,
Mine does.
Darkness is your my ally. I'm trying not to choke on the coffee that's still in my mug.
Oh god, Morgan didn't make that coffee, did she?
yeah. How's your 18 cups of creamer?
Yes, and 6 tablespoons of milk.
Yes, I would like a large coffee, 2 sugar, and 8 milk.
Wait, what are we talking about? Oh yes, Elden Ring.
I'd like
extra cow.
her Starbucks order. I'd like a grande creamer latte with 2 shots of coffee in it, please.
Yes. And a lactating woman on the side, please.
Jesus Christ,
Oh my god.
that's insane. But
Yeah.
now I can't stop picturing Goth Dill.
Goth me.
Oh my god.
Goth me
Speaking
going
of
through
goth,
Gothy Goth Elden Ring.
I actually
Oh, yes,
wore,
wait.
I wore eyeliner
I've seen
and
this.
eye makeup as I was when as
I
a-
thought you
an
were
emo
going
rocker.
to. I thought you were going to Where We Were Young Fest. I was like, I didn't know Zenith was into that back in the
Is
day.
there a
no.
My Chemical Romance concert somewhere?
What's funny is everyone thought I was my brother that day. It's like, no, I'm just dressing like this. I put on.
Did you walk into
one
a
of
Hot
his- one of his
Topic?
wigs, and then wore my leather jacket.
You didn't
and
walk
just
into a
played
Hot
Bloodborne.
Topic.
No,
You let us down.
I was never a Hot Topic person because even
No,
back
but you
then
were
when I had,
dressed
like,
as
long-
you can't be emo and not be in a Hot Topic. That's just.
I had long hair, but like I was more of like a metalhead as opposed to like a.
I could
like a
see that.
rocker.
I could see that more. Like you had like the denim vest with the patches on it. So that
No, I
fits you
actually
more.
didn't have a denim vest. Like
Right.
I was a leather jacket guy. Didn't have any patches or anything like that. Had long hair and just wore t-shirts and jeans. That's about it.
Let's get you a motorcycle. Let's do it.
Sure.
Let's do it. I think it's very. I could totally see you as the metalhead, not the emo. You're definitely not Gerard Way.
Ooh,
So
no
that
one, no one
ain't
could
you.
be Gerard Way.
That
No
ain't
one
you.
could be.
But I
Yeah.
could see the little James Hetfield in Zenith there. So Dark Run with katanas and dark spells and the lights off and New Order
Yes.
playing in the background. Little
Yeah,
Joy
pretty much.
Division.
It took me 87 hours to beat that run because I beat every single boss, and there's 165 bosses in Elden Ring.
Was this the run you were doing like before, or was that
Yes.
okay?
It's the one that I mentioned previously that I've stopped mentioning because it was just literally like, the same thing over and over again. But I officially finished it yesterday.
They're like,
Nice.
this guy plays only one fucking game.
I noticed that you were struggling with Millennia. Was it your first time beating her?
No, it was my second playthrough, so second time on Millennia. My first playthrough was a strength build, and I used the mimic summons. This playthrough, I was trying to not use summons as much as possible, but with Millennia, I made the exception because I wanted to beat the game before all the new games come out that I wanted to play. So I was just like, fuck it. I spent 7 hours one day trying to beat her and didn't succeed. So I was just like, fuck it. I'm bringing out some mimic summon. Not a mimic tier though. I used can't remember which one it is. I used one with a big sword because it knocks her down pretty easily, and she's susceptible to being knocked down quite often. So, but I only used it in a second phase because I worked out her first phase, and then the second phase I summon the summons, and then I do all the things, and then make sure I try and survive, and I eventually beat her. That and the final boss was also a challenge too, because of like just Ranagon kicking my ass, and then the Elden Beast finishes me off. I got there in the end.
Do you think you're done with Elden Ring now? Like, you think you're gonna put it away for a while?
I'm gonna put it away for now. I already have a third playthrough in mind, where I gonna be using the magic run, where I do nothing but magic.
Do you want to do a co-op run with me, Dill?
Oh, fuck yeah!
Can you do that? Like, there's co-op
in
Elden Ring?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah,
you can.
Yeah, if
yeah.
you got it for PS5, Eric, or PS4, like, you're welcome to join us.
I've got it on PC.
Oh, on PC.
So, I don't know if
let's get money to get it. Wait,
I could get it on PS5. Honestly,
you have a PC.
Yes, but I also don't want to risk it melting.
Yeah, I've got a 3080 in my PC. That's why I'm able to run it pretty well.
Yeah, I haven't updated my graphics card in like a very long while because like it might have been like top line about 5 years ago, but no longer.
It'll run it. It's 5. If it's 5 years, it'll run it.
Just works.
Yeah, it'll work.
The Todd Howard approach. It just works.
You're not gonna get like 4K 60 frames a second or whatever, but it'll run.
I mean, Elden Ring's locked at 60 FPS anyway, so
yeah, it'll run.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, we drop it down to 720p and you'll be fine. It'll play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, let's go. Let's get
Absolutely.
We'll get you a Steam Deck too while we're at it.
Yeah.
Let's ship them all the toys.
Yeah. So for Elden Ring, I'm on break on it now until probably the new year, and then I'll commence my third playthrough where I use nothing but magic spells, and I'm gonna call my character Gandalf.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
Take that ring to Mordor.
Absolutely.
We got we got to get it done. I'm still stuck on. I haven't played it since I was full on.
When was the last time you played it?
Oh, when did The Last of Us come out?
September.
So yeah, sometime back in September. I haven't touched it.
Jesus.
I'll get back. It's gonna get done. I will finish it. I already think it might be game of the year in my opinion, but
everyone what I've been seeing online is everyone doing fight scenes where they put like Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok, and then they're fighting for like
those are the two it's going to come down to, I think. But then again, I haven't played Ragnarok yet. That's on my list. I haven't even played the first God of War. I haven't finished it yet. That's on my list of things to do.
I've played the first one twice. It's fantastic. I can't wait for Ragnarok, but I don't think Ragnarok will win Game of the Year. I've already mentioned this plenty of times before. It's quite boring saying this over and over again. The main factor is that God of War Ragnarok has against Elden Ring when it comes to like winning Game of the Year is timing and exclusivity, because more people will play Elden Ring than God of War Ragnarok due to the exclusivity of the game.
But
and
then
the game
again,
comes out in a
too,
month.
on top of it, people are getting access to PlayStation 5s now. Like you can get them in stores. I saw a guy at Target walk out with one yesterday.
Nice.
So you can get them in the stores.
Yeah, I think it will be definitely a contender for Game of the Year. I think it will definitely deserve it if it does win Game of the Year. But my money is on Elden Ring winning.
Yeah. I think it'll be Elden Ring. I mean, but it'll be a close one. So, on my end of things here, I did the we'll talk about some Resident Evil 8 here before we head into the break, because we do have a guest today. So
true,
we're gonna wedge in some time here for them. So, it looks like all of us did the Resident 8 DLC. So I'm not done, but I'm like 80% there.
Okay.
So first off, what do we all think? We'll do the shadow roasting, because I don't think any of us touched that mercenary stuff, right?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. Okay, we were all doing just the roasting, yeah.
Yes.
Because like the mercenaries DLC felt like just a tad bit gimmicky for me, so I'm not interested.
Before we talk about the roasting, did anyone do the third person mode for Ethan?
I've started a third-person hardcore run for Ethan.
Okay, let's talk about that then because I haven't done the third-person run yet. So how's the Ethan third-person run feel?
It's interesting because there is certain angles where you can see half of his face if you are quick, but it will immediately turn away a second later from his face. But there have been like moments where I have caught his half of his face when I've turned a certain way or gone on a certain angle. The weird thing is at the start of the game, obviously at the start of the game, you're in the house with, Mia, and you're taking the baby upstairs. But Ethan is wearing the same outfit that he's wearing when you play the rest of the game.
Weird.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's an oversight.
Weird. Maybe, I think it's an oversight. I think they forgot to change it, because it would make more sense if it was a bit more dressed down, because he's indoors rather than wearing a winter coat.
Why would they miss something so big though?
I don't know. It's weird. It's just like it was a bit of a weird thing to me. Another thing to point out also, it's in third person mode until you get to a cutscene. When you get to a cutscene, it will transition back to first person mode.
Yeah, because they would have to like redo all of those.
Yeah, and then it will go back into third person mode after the cutscene.
Does it switch to the tank controls? Like, does it switch to the old school Resident Evil 4 tank controls if in the third person mode, or is it still, or is it revert back to the whatever the remakes use, 2 and 3?
I think it uses what 2 and 3 uses rather than what 4 uses.
That would make sense.
I think the 4 remake is going to do the same thing, and I think that's going to probably, I don't know. But yeah, that's what it does.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! I'm going to ask Dill a question here.
Go on.
But I'm going to give you a spoiler warning if you have not played Resident Evil Village yet. Spoiler alert! 3, 2, and 1. In the third person mode, do you see the damage in his hand when he holds the gun and stuff?
I actually don't know. I'll have to check that out,
because that thing gets fucked in that game.
It does. I mean, I'm like in the spoiler again Village. I've just gone past Lady Dimitrescu in my hardcore third person run.
So we haven't gotten to the creepy baby house.
I'm about to get to that point. I'm not looking forward to it.
Let us know how the creepy baby house goes in third person mode.
I will find out.
That was
more on Monday.
That's one of the biggest questions I have is do you see the damage and everything in his hand as that?
Yeah, I'll take a look at it on his hand, and also when I play it again on Monday. I have to give myself a reminder. For that.
Because that's just, you're like, God damn, that thing looks nasty.
Yeah, it does get nasty. And then there's also a point where he gets stabbed by Heisenberg, and I'm like, how the fuck are you still? alive, and obviously, if you've played the game, you know how.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he also gets absolutely bopped by that giant hammer. Like, he goes through so much in the game, but at the same time, it makes sense.
It makes sense. Unlike
He's
this
also
game.
a good dad.
Yeah, very good dad.
Yeah.
Which the DLC actually also shows.
Yeah, I was just like, I have not finished the DLC yet. I'm like 90% through. I'm basically like, we'll talk about it here. So the DLC, what do we think of the Rose? Without spoilers yet, because there's obviously some people here that haven't played it yet. But what's the consensus on the Rose DLC?
I liked it. I thought it was good DLC. I thought it did a good job of explaining Rose's powers. I thought that it was a nice little segue back, honestly, like going back through the areas I've been through before, like as even by the time as Rose, with like new enemies to face and different boss battles and everything. I wouldn't mind if there was access to more variety of weapons. Honestly, there was only really like I think 2 weapons that she really has in the entirety of the
handgun
DLC.
and the shotgun.
Yeah. I would have liked that there was more than that, which I think you do unlock more in like New Game Plus or something like that, but I'm not entirely sure. I've not really gone back and re-explored the game yet. The ending definitely also was a pretty nice little ending. I will say that. I'm not going to like press any more because obviously you haven't finished it yet, Erik, but the ending was pretty good.
That's well, I'll let Zenith chime in because he played it as well. So, what are you thinking? Was it worth the 20 some odd bucks? Did you guys use my link that I gave you?
No, because I play on PS4.
Oh, shit.
What link?
I gave you a link to Green Man Gaming. It was pre-ordered for like $15-$16.
Oh yeah. I used that. Yeah, I got it for my price. I got it for like 13 quid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go, greenmangaming.com for your Steam code needs. And they're legit. They're not one of those like G2As or whatever. Like Green Man Gaming's a legit vendor.
Yeah.
What do you think, Zenith? How do you feel?
It was all right.
Was all right?
I mean, like there's some good parts. There's some parts that felt like, because I would say that a lot of the deal, like the very first day that I streamed it, I wasn't really spooked. I was going through it really fast. I felt that it was actually quite easy and straightforward.
And then you got to the dollhouse.
And then I got to a certain house, and I'm just like, fuck.
Morgan, show the clip.
Did you get to a certain house, Erik?
Yes. I'm working my way through a certain house right now. That's where I'm like,
there. Okay.
I'm there. I'm almost done.
I put a certain TikTok out there.
Yeah, I've watched it.
Basically, it got me so good where I don't think I've ever screamed like that on stream.
I literally was like, I was watching when it happened, and I was just like, "Oh my god, he's there! I'm waiting for it," because it got me as well.
Half my chat like screamed as well. So,
is it the one where you walk in to put the puzzle together, like the final puzzle together, and it's like right in the door when you open it?
No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, if you haven't got there, Erik will let you find out.
So, okay, I'll talk about it a little bit here. So, one, which is, I feel like, like you said, it was straightforward feeling. I feel like it was a little more difficult because your resources were limited.
Yeah, they were.
That was actually a good, it brought back more of that classic Resident Evil vibe where your resources are limited. And I found it that I did have to run in some cases because I overused bullets.
Yeah.
And then even down to when you get the spoiler alert, when you get the power to, I guess, slow them down or, stun them, that's limited.
It is.
So you have to be selective about how and when you use those. So like the difficulty, I found it more difficult than most DLCs just because of how resources were limited and all that kind of stuff. I will say I think my favorite thing about this game and the thing that, or this DLC, and the thing that kept me going in it, and it's probably one of my favorite things I've experienced a game in a while, was I absolutely fell in love with the concept of you communicating with the wall.
Yeah.
With the writings on the wall.
Michael person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice touch. I didn't.
That was actually an amazing touch to something, which I actually wish was in the game itself.
Yeah, I mean,
because that really brought like a fresh breath of air to it, because I was looking for what it was saying. Like I was looking for every nook and cranny just to see what something would be said or if something would be triggered, you know. And that was really, really well done. That was probably one of my favorite things I did in this DLC, and probably in a game in a while, was talking to the wall, which is, as weird as that sounds, it was actually quite cool. And it was also motivational in some way, where it's like, run.
Run.
You know, yeah, like how do I stop it? I can't stop that. And then
I just ran.
Yeah, and then it's just like run. You know?
Yeah.
And then like
I was armed to the teeth with like ammo at the very end. I had no room.
Yeah, but you know, avoid your facial expressions and avoid saying anything. But I feel like this wall is going to betray me in some way, shape, or form. But it was also great where it was just like, be careful. You know? Like there was some genuine heart to this script on the wall, which I just kind of got hooked on. This fucking house.
Yeah.
I thought it was just the castle. The castle, and I was like, okay,
misdirection there.
Yeah. And
like, my heart sank when I realized where I was going, and because like I didn't realize where I was until I was walking down a path. I was like, okay, so we're not in the castle anymore, and I'm just like,
as soon as I saw the hallways, as soon as I got off the elevator and I saw the hallways, I was like, oh fuck, here we go.
There we go again.
And I was like, oh shit, here we go. And I'm gonna sound like a real big sissy right now, but like I was playing this thing at 1:30 in the morning last night in this house, and I was like, I'm gonna turn this off. Because spoiler alert, 3, 2, and 1, I got to the fucking mannequins.
Oh, he did get to the mannequins.
I got to the mannequins, and that I'm now in this position. I am now in this position where I'm debating if this is scarier or the baby was scarier.
This is more anxiety-inducing.
Yes.
Well, the thing about the thing about the mannequins, it was more surprising than the baby.
Because the baby
we saw coming because of all the noises that were being made.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, like what it actually looked like was a baby was surprising as fuck, because no one would expect that at all. But it was more something like Silent Hill that.
Yeah.
Well, I still had the worst possible experience with the baby, because it just saw me enter the locker.
Yeah.
So, the baby was the most frightening thing I had played in probably any horror game in a long time.
Yeah. It was. Everyone was like, "When did Resident Evil learn to do horror games?
Like,
what the heck happened?"
That, and then this, I agree. This is more anxiety inducing.
Yeah,
because I felt so much hair on my head, on the back of my neck, lift up, and it's not from the environment. It's dark and it's scary. Yeah. But just hearing her breathe. You're hearing her intense breathing and all this kind of stuff. And like, you can hear this genuine fear in her voice. And I'm like, no, I'm starting to feel it. Like, I'm starting to feel anxiety. And then the fucking mannequins start showing up.
Yeah.
And then I saw the first one and I was like,
so you know about them being more than one.
Yeah. And then I was like, I saw a second one and I'm like, And then there's this segment when you go to put the dolls back together, the final puzzle thing. And then you run into the room where it's at and you're like, oh, I got it. And you start speeding through it. And then she's right in the doorway when you open it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, fuck, no. And then I got to the segment now where you have to get the fuse to the elevator and all that kind of stuff. And the thing's chasing you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess it gets more intense after that, judging by your guys'.
My TikTok is from that part.
Yes.
So I think you're safe to watch it.
Okay.
Yes.
You can watch it on the brick if you want.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And I have a feeling it's just going to get worse after this. You know.
Oh, it is.
I'm at the end of it, though, right? Like, once you get through this house, that's it.
You're at least 75% of the way. 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 75% 70%
Okay.
the way through. There is going to be something else before you do leave the house.
I got about an hour in. I got about an hour left, I'm guessing. So
yeah, something like that.
But yeah,
I beat the DLC in like 3 hours.
That's what the consensus is, between 3 and 4 hours. So
yeah,
which is actually one of the longer ones I think they've done.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, the house, dude, this house, I hope they bring it back, because it's one of the most frightening things I think I've done in a Resident Evil in a long time.
That's a good question. What do you guys want from Resident Evil 9 in general? Because they're going to make another one, obviously.
Yeah.
Like a mix of 7 and 8. Just keep it going. It's great. They got a great, fantastic formula. Don't change anything like that. Sure, introduce more new characters, but I don't want them to go back to like Resident Evil 5 and 6 where it's just action based. I love the horror aspect of it.
Yeah. Do you think that they're going to use Chris in Resident Evil 9 because of how much he was involved in 8 and 7 as a playable character?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And would you like to see Rose maybe be the main cast?
I definitely want Rose. I think I want Rose, and I want some of this more wall reading, because it's more, what do they call that thing? A medium, I think it is, where they talk to like another, like people in another dimension or something like that.
Like it would be kind of cool if the wall reading follows her in her own mind, and then like gives her advice when she's going through the game. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, like I like that vibe a lot. I also think would be very interesting, because since Resident Evil 7 is very like Texas Chainsaw inspired, with the cannibals and like the middle of nowhere swampland kind of stuff, I wouldn't mind them tackling like that 80s era of slasher and horror.
So perhaps like maybe like a healthy balance where you have some kind of like voice or something that kind of where you can talk to, but without sacrificing the feeling of being alone, because that's what RE7 and RE8 does very, very well. Or any of the Resident Evil games where your character is alone in a very hostile environment.
That's what makes these ones tick so well. I think the other thing that will probably be more realistic, at least in the route we're going with these past 2 games, is I think they could use the Rose with the whole like medium and talking to other spirits type of thing, but you go with that total like Japanese horror, like the Grudge, the Ring, all that kind of stuff.
Also, Grace of Athena is Rachel is in the guest chat. If you have noticed.
The guest chat. Okay. We'll get to a break here shortly.
All right.
And then one of us will pull her into this one, and then we'll get that prepped up. We'll segue out of here and get that worked out. So, that's, I think that ghost Japanese horror, Grudge, Ring, all those kind of things, I think would work really, really well. The other thing that would work really well is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but there's a Spanish horror movie called Record, and it's like REC, like the recording on a video camera, and it's basically
like those body cam horrors.
Yeah, like this. Basically, these people are caught in a quarantined building with the people that have a virus. So again, it brings you that alone in an isolated environment type of deal that would, I think, really fit the route they're going with these games. Because they definitely found a model that worked.
Yeah.
They definitely found a model that worked, and now they're going back and redoing all the games that fit, so they can fit the same model in terms of look and style and
I'm looking forward to Resident Evil 4 remake.
Capcom is on one, dude.
Yeah.
They are on one. So
I'm looking forward to parrying a chainsaw.
It's a think. But yeah, great game. Great DLC. It is $20 full price, if I'm correct.
Yes, $20 full price. Or if you get Angry Man Gaming, it's a bit cheaper.
Yeah, so $20 full price off Steam, PlayStation Store, Xbox whatever it is, Xbox store, whatever your Microsoft store, whatever your purchasing of choices. You do need the Resident Evil 8 Village game to do this, so pick up the bundle pack or whatever, or
pick up the gold edition of Resident Evil Village if you don't have Vita.
Yeah, so you get the gold edition, you get all this access to all this stuff. Fun stuff. Anyone else got anything game-wise that's they'd like to share before we segue into a break here?
Got to segue into the break now, honestly, so we can get our guest on.
Let's get our guest on. All right, we're going to have a guest in a moment here. We'll introduce her when we get her in here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take a break, and we're going to get prepared for that. I also need to take a quick bathroom break. Lots of water. Hot dog flavored water.
Hot dog.
And the chocolate starfish.
Chocolate starfish. Chocolate coffee. All right.
Coffee is not working.
It's not looking good. We'll be right back. This is Good Friends, Good Games. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome back to Good Friends and Good Games. And as you can see in the bottom corner here, we have our special guest. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pronounce this correctly because I just went over this. This is Rachel Kaser. She's a writer for Gamesbeat. So, Rachel, how is your weekend going?
Pretty good. We talked about this during the break, but I just published a major review so I can get back to playing the other games that I want to play because I've just finished playing a game professionally. Now I get to go back to playing a game personally.
The embargoes are up on all this now, right? Since the reviews and stuff. So it's God of War Ragnarok, correct?
Yes.
You can get that over on.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Pardon me. Spam call.
No worries. Gamesbeat.com. Making sure I got that right.
Venturebeat.com/games.
Venturebeat.com/games. Okay. Because the linked website here was Gamesbeat, so apologize for that. Okay.
No, it's just that Gamesbeat is a sub brand of VentureBeat, so
Okay.
I don't know if Gamesbeat.com actually exists or if it.
Okay.
If you put just
Unless it redirects.
Gamesbeat.com and it will actually redirect to it.
Okay,
Yeah, it
cool.
actually does. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, perfect. All right, cool. Making sure I got that correct there. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
So go check out that review, God of War Ragnarok. We're all sitting in the chat here, kind of like excited to play it. I have not done the first one yet, so I'm probably missing out on greatness according to what everyone else is saying here.
Yeah.
I've only played like the original God of War, and it wasn't for very long. And I'm guessing like the newer God of War games are so far different from current ones.
Yes.
I would say yes and also kind of no.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't necessarily want to tell you anything about Ragnarok. I mean, even if I thought you wanted to hear it, which I'm sure I don't think you do, but because I'm actually part of the embargo is that you don't actually talk about spoilers until well after the game's release, because which that's a condition I'm perfectly willing to accept. But I will say one thing that I did mention in the review is that Ragnarok actually has a little bit more in common with the original God of War series than God of War 2018 did.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
What's the time frame for your embargo then?
Well, the game launches on the 9th. I mean, they say in the review, they ask you not to reveal any major twists, not to reveal what happens at the end. Try to keep spoilers to a minimum if you can, and which I did because I feel like there's a lot in the game that the player needs to experience for themselves. Though, maybe a month or so after the review, I will talk about some of the spoilers a little bit, because there is some stuff that in there that we can definitely dissect. But it does the gameplay has gotten a little bit of a speed tune-up, which I like, because as we will discuss, I'm a huge action game fan. And I love both iterations of God of War. So the combat has gotten a little bit speedier.
That's cool.
I've always been curious about it because I've never had to actually review a game or product or anything along those lines. So the embargo system, you can give a probably better answer to this on this. Sometimes the embargoes are done in pieces, right? So you get the actual embargo in your hand, and it's up to this date you can reveal this much, up to this date you can do this, which is what you're getting at, right? You can't talk about spoilers or anything definitive of it. I'm guessing months after release, or a quarter, 2 quarters,
but
yeah.
They ask. I mean, for post release, they can't really be so definitive about it, because they know that as soon as the game launches, within a day, there's going to be spoilers online.
Right.
Because
Yes.
everyone's going to say like, hey, I played the game. I went through the entire game in one day. Here's everything that happens. Let's talk about it. So they can't really
Jesus.
they can't really keep a lid on that, but they do ask that you try to give people a chance, give their players a chance to experience it for themselves.
Especially in like a social media environment now too, where someone will get a copy of the game and they'll burn through it in 16 hours on a stream over 2 days or whatever.
From what I gather is if you're someone that has like a bit of a history of spoiling certain things, like you might be last on the list or even blacklisted from getting a review, future review copies, because like you will get like flagged if you're someone's like, for example, like you're 2 days before release and you let something slip, like it may not prevent you from getting review copies, but there'll be something on file.
I know Nintendo's done this.
Oh yeah, Nintendo is fierce about that. We actually
Yeah.
don't get at Gamesbeat don't get review copies for stuff because of that.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
I don't. It wasn't for anything that I did. It's been that way since
Right.
before I was hired there. But but I don't get so I didn't get a review copy of Bayonetta 3. Just throwing that out there, or at least I got a copy of it, but I got it at launch.
Right.
So basically, if I manage to review the game, it's going to be way behind everyone else.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because like they're not going to flag you just for as an individual. They're going to flag your company,
Right.
which can make things rough and can probably even result in you getting fired.
Yeah.
In more
Well,
extreme cases.
It depends. It depends on what you spoil and why.
Mhm.
And yeah, Nintendo can be. Nintendo is very, very vociferous about that. Let's just find the right word there. But other companies, they sort of like usually they give you a guide and they say like, here's what we would prefer you not to talk about in even the final review if you can. And a lot of them are very. It's a handshake agreement in a lot of cases, unless you sign a proper NDA. If you do, then that's when things are that's when things are super serious. And I have done that before for some games.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
About how much time do you spend when you're reviewing a copy of a game? Like, how much time do you spend really dissecting, or do you have like a system where you kind of like have these main points you want to tackle in the game to write about, or do you just kind of is each game different and you kind of just tackle and digest each one differently?
I think they're all different. It's more of a genre thing. So like, for example, let's just use Bayonetta as an example. Reviewing a Bayonetta game, most of like what you're going to be talking about is probably going to be gameplay, because it is a gameplay heavy system. You're not sitting there for these like hour and a half long cinematics of what's happening. So as much as so you can review a story in a game like that, but I think it would kind of be a waste of everyone's time if you did it if you devoted a huge amount of the review to the game's story. So if you're talking like a spectacle game, it would be something like maybe a Xenoblade Chronicles, for example. You would want to review things like the graphical quality and the art design. Like, these are all elements that are important in all games. It's just that in certain games they take more precedence than they do in others.
Right.
So like when I review Stray, I think that's a good example. Like like gameplay was a major part of it, but also like the environment and the design was the biggest part of the game for me, because it's a it's a relatively short adventure game, so therefore the set design and the writing is the most important part of it.
The thing that carried that game for me was it was mostly, like you said, the environment and the music. The music was a huge driving factor in that game, and almost like the motivator kind of going to keep going in the game, because the music would pick up when you were getting somewhere in the game. And it was really great use of just environment and music and just your environment in general. And then the gameplay itself was really, really simple. It's really just simple puzzle solving, kind of, move this out of the way to go here and that kind of stuff. And but yeah, the environment, like you said, the environment really carries that type of game, and it's a very different game versus something like a Last of Us, which is just this huge cinematic,
Right. I mean, my job in this is not to present my opinion about a game as, some sort of like immutable, like unchanging, like art piece in and of itself. Like my opinion is more like my job is more like I'm speaking to the consumer directly and saying, okay,
Right.
if you like this kind of a game, you'll like this, and here's why. If you were into action games, here's why this game might be a disappointment to you. Like I did that with Gotham Knights, because I said that if you are going into this expecting a certain kind of like hack and slash Arkham style action heavy
Right.
gameplay, you're going to be disappointed because it's 30 frames per second. And that really hampers the action gameplay. If you are a DC fan, you might get more satisfaction out of it. So that's how I approach all reviews: is what message, who would enjoy this game? Should people play this game? Would this game be worth its price to a certain kind of gamer?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I approach it from the perspective of I'm helping gamers make informed decisions about what they buy and play.
Interesting. That whole aspect of the industry always kind of like rang in my head. It's like, I wonder how they do these things, because you sit and you play it and you're playing it almost subjectively, because you're producing some kind of opinion or recommendation about it.
Yeah, and then there's some people that try and play it to see, okay, so how broken is this? So everyone's approach is different. You're gonna have your cynical reviewers. You're gonna have reviewers that are just gonna want to just go fanboy about it and go into it and try and ignore all the flaws, and that's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but they're gonna want to focus on like the core strengths of the game.
Yeah, it's that's how I mean, everyone's approach is different. I'm not speaking for all game reviewers here. I'm just saying that the way I approach it, and I've been reviewing games for a really long time now, and that's how I started approaching it. Was I'm trying to help people within my community, because I started writing games reviews for a local newspaper. So it became, I'm helping people in my community make informed decisions about how to spend their money and their time, and that's kind of how I do it now, just on a slightly bigger scale.
What was the one game you reviewed that you just couldn't stand, but you had to, produce a review out of it?
Oh, that could describe a lot of games. The most recent one was
Gotham Knights.
Well, I mean, that's not the one I've hated the most, but that's the most recent one where I was playing it. I think I even called it desperately unfun in my review.
Ouch.
And said I wasn't going to finish it even for Gamesbeat's readers.
Fair enough.
So I basically gave it a DNF as a review. I'm sorry, my camera keeps going in and out of
you're
focus.
okay.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, maybe this one's easier. What was one of your favorites then?
Oh, that's a good one. Think.
It could be one too that you didn't even expect to be one of your favorites, but it just like was one of those things where you're like, wow.
It's hard because sometimes I don't remember which games I've played myself and which ones I've reviewed.
Right.
That's hard because like I said, I actually can't remember if I reviewed recently. What was it? Resident Evil Village. I don't know if I reviewed it, but I did enjoy that one a lot.
That's what we were just talking about here before.
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of why we took so long.
We've been swooning over Resident Evil for the past 3 podcasts because they're just on such an upswing right now of just putting out great stuff.
Yeah, we got spooked on during the DLC, all 3 of us.
Yeah, all 3 of us.
Yeah, all 3 of us.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to have you here, Rachel. Thank you for taking time out of your day to share the news segment with us here.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it very much.
Yeah, I think Stray. If we're talking recent games, I would say Stray is one of the ones that I knew it was going to be good, but I also wasn't sure if it was going to be, it was going to be like just too simple. But I took great delight in that one. So I would say Stray and also Tunic.
Tunic, I hear such good things about. Tunic, I hear is fantastic.
I had no expectations of Tunic going into it, but I loved it so much.
There's a lot going on there that's, I guess I would say it's innovative in the way have you progress it. Stray was one of those games for me, and I can't speak for the other three here if they played or not, but Stray was one of those ones for me where it's like it was the trailer showed a game that you didn't really get when you actually went to play it. Stray felt, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be this cute like cat game that you just wander around and you know
tricks you.
do cat things, and then I got stuck in this like dystopian robot world of, you know, with these little like alien things that you have to escape, and I'm like, this is not what I got out of the trailer. This is awesome.
Yeah, here on the podcast we were discussing before releases, like, are you guys gonna get the new cat game? It's the cat game. It's gonna cost $30, and we're just like, we're not really sure. And then a bunch of us here actually played it. It's like, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It was short. It was good.
Short, but it was short and sweet. I guess that's how I would put it. It was short and sweet.
Yeah,
you know,
it was worth it.
It was a great fix of just something fresh. And plus, we hadn't had games in like months at that point when that came out. Like that was the first real new thing that was like anticipated that came.
Yeah, because I was just wrapping up Elden Ring.
Yeah.
What was I playing? I don't even know.
You were probably playing Elden Ring.
Well, I'd finished my first playthrough of Elden Ring in August? No. April or May. I think April.
I wish I could finish games at your speed, Dill. I wish.
It took me over a month.
It's like those people that read books in like days. They're like, oh, I'm on my 30th book this month. I'm like, how are you even doing this?
I literally know someone who actually is on their 30th book this
Reese
year.
is like that. Our friend Reese is like that.
That's what I'm talking about.
She just
one of my mods basically is speeding to try and read an entire book in less than a week. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't know how people do it. Let's go through some news articles here. So, first news article on the plate. Yeah, before we veer off into all this stuff. But again, thank you for your time. We're glad to have you here.
No problem.
So, first thing on the plate here. Marvel and EA sign a 3-game deal starting with Iron Man. Reported by Bloomberg, this deal will begin with the previously announced Iron Man game from EA Motive. All 3 games coming to consoles and PC. Through details about what's coming after Iron Man are still thin. Each game will feature its own original story set in the Marvel Universe. EA is looking to increase its offerings with the Marvel deal. We have intentional, deliberate strategy to have balanced portfolio, and that came out of Chief Operating Officer Laura Millet. There will be Marvel fans who don't play other EA games. They're not clear on if the second and third game scheduled for release will be centered on different Marvel characters like Hulk or Thor, or if there'll be follow-ups to the Iron Man. So it's kind of like up in the air what they decide to do and what route they're going to take. This story comes out of IGN. Yeah. So this one's interesting to me because I may be wrong in this, but didn't EA lose the Star Wars licensing?
They lost the Star Wars exclusive license.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
other people can make Star Wars games now, but they're still coming out with Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
That's the sequel to
Fallen Order,
right. Okay.
Who did the Avengers game? Was that EA? Or was that
the recent one?
That was Square Enix. One of Square's, right?
Yeah.
Square Enix, yeah.
And then
I heard it was awful.
It is.
Yes. Yeah.
It is absolutely awful. Don't play it.
And then they did Guardians, which had kind of like mixed reception. Some people loved it.
That one apparently
some people
was better, like a lot better compared to Avengers, because it wasn't an online game; it was just a story game.
So, what's interesting to me about this whole thing is like they have this 3-game deal, but they don't necessarily know what they're going to do with it. All they know is that they're doing Iron Man.
That's the first one.
And then
rumor in the industry is that the second game is going to be a Black Panther game.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh.
So they know what they're doing. They just haven't announced it yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know if I want EA's grubby fingers on that franchise, because they're, you know them, like I earlier discussed my distaste for EA's microtransactions strategies, and it just kind of just overall shits on the experience. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but
I'd feel more comfortable if Respawn was working on it, because Respawn have been doing some pretty good stuff lately, but...
That's the Fallen Order one, right?
Yeah, Fallen Order devs.
Oh, the Star Wars Fallen Order, where it's like Jedi Dark Souls, right?
Yes.
So and that doesn't have any microtransactions in it. Like
no, that was a
very
straight,
solid.
Yeah, that was a straightforward, solid, action adventure game. That
I'm confident in EA motive because I have more confidence than I might otherwise, because I have seen some of the behind the scenes stuff. They're working on the Dead Space remake, and I think from what I've seen, they seem like they know what they're doing. I have confidence in them to produce a good project. And they have previously worked on Star Wars games, but I think they were maybe a little fettered by that. And I actually really want to see what they do with Iron Man.
Okay.
I think the one thing that worries me, and this is, I think you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is one of those things they had to learn from the Avengers thing, and to an extent the Guardians of the Galaxy thing, is they got this Marvel license and they're like, yeah, we're going to go make Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
But this is all kind of set on this is just opinion, but it feels like this is all kind of set on this presumption that it's like, hey, it's Iron Man. Iron Man was a huge hit in the movie world. It's going to sell in the video game world here, where it's like, oh, we'll make this Iron Man game and it's going to be great. People are going to buy it. It's Iron Man. Who wouldn't, right? Whereas a key point that seems to be missed is, well, Robert Downey carried Iron Man.
Yeah.
And like Robert Downey is Iron Man to an extent for most people. Yeah. And this is, I think, what happened with the Avengers thing, when everyone was hyped up for this Avengers game. And then when they announced it at E3 and showed that trailer, you didn't see like a Chris Hemsworth Thor or a Chris Evans Captain America, right? It was this, how do you put this similar likeness that was on the border of movie version and comic book version. Yeah. And then it kind of left this weird taste in people's mouth. Like, I don't know how I guess the layman's term for it felt like a budget version of the Avengers and not the Avengers we're used to seeing in theaters.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what they're this Iron Man might bring that approach.
The feeling that I'm getting with them going with Iron Man is they've recognized the commercial success of the Spider-Man games, which are absolutely incredible.
Fantastic.
And they're kind of hoping that I think like an Iron Man game would probably be something open world but instead of being able to swing around, you have the ability to fly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the idea that I'm getting from this. So as long as it's executed well, it could go very well. It's just hopefully it doesn't borrow too much from Spider-Man. But at the same time, like, who knows what they're doing? But I mean, they've had mixed success. It just depends on if they actually catch lightning in the bottle.
I think with Iron Man as well, it can't just be one location. Like with Spider-Man, with New York City, it works because that's his,
friendly neighborhood
area.
Spider-Man.
Right.
That's where he's from. But with Iron Man, it can't just be one location as well. It has to be like multiple locations, because Iron Man does go around. He can literally go around the entirety of the globe in his like suit. It's been done in the news and everything.
There's also this relatability to Spider-Man for a lot of people, because he's just high school age kid that, can be a hero. Like, what kid wouldn't like to be a hero? You know what I mean? It's like a relatable thing, and save the day and become the kid, And then on top of that too, they also, to an extent, Insomniac also kind of catered that Spider-Man character in that game to mirror Tom Holland to an extent. There's like a lot of Tom Holland personality, I think, in the Insomniac game.
Yeah, they changed his look in like, what was it, the PS5 version?
Yeah, the PS5 version got an update.
They used a new face model.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the risk.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I'm not opposed to a Spider-Man game. An Iron Man game. I'm not opposed to.
We already have a Spider-Man game.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to an Iron Man game. So
Well, it is in pre-production. It just entered
Yeah.
playtesting, so
Right.
they are going to workshop some early parts of the game, like plot and gameplay modes with some playtesters.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm confident things will turn out as well as they can.
Fingers crossed.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're not going to see any previews about in like another year and a half, and like
Right.
at like
Probably
E3
2 years,
event.
honestly.
Yeah. And
Well,
this
Yeah.
I will. Can I be a comic? Can I switch from video game nerd to like sort of like different kind of
Absolutely.
nerd for a second there?
the floor is
Go.
yours.
As far as Iron Man goes, I understand what you're saying about them maybe just wanting to like ride off the star power of the MCU version of Iron Man. But the thing about that is that the MCU version of Iron Man for like basically like the 10 solid years was just a team player. Like for the last 10 years, we've
Correct.
only not known Iron Man primarily as part of the Avengers. Like his solo stuff is not really what we think about anymore. And I would like to see more of that Iron Man, because Iron Man basically as somebody former arms dealer turned repentant superhero, that's hugely interesting as character work. So I don't think
Yeah.
it's impossible for them to take this character concept and go somewhere fun with it. Just because I don't think just because Robert Downey Jr. did a really good job with it, I don't think it's impossible to also, do other things with the character. Put it
He's
that way.
definitely a deep character. He's a very close mirror to like Bruce Wayne, because there's just this wealthy individual that has, a semi non-existent relationship with his father. Then there's things that they touch on through Iron Man's,
Well,
life.
I will
like,
say Batman not having a relationship with his father was not Thomas Wayne's fault.
that's very, very
Fair
true.
enough.
Very, very
Mhm.
true. But
Enough.
there's things
Yeah.
they touch on in, in Tony Stark's life in the comic books, his alcoholism and all that stuff, which all kind of stems from this pressure of being someone better than his father was, in a way,
Right.
or living up to that expectation of his father and that legacy his father has. It's a deep character, and without a doubt, I would like for them to dig into it deeper. Plus, I think EA also has this thing to, because they just had this huge problem with Battlefield that just completely tanked all this money they spent on this game. That's just
Yeah.
tanked.
Jesus.
So they got some headwork to make.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will say, if it's true that we're getting a Black Panther game, so it'd be Iron Man, Black Panther, don't know anything. I have not heard anybody like make any predictions, or are there any rumors about the third game? I mean, do you guys have any idea what you might like? I know what I might like.
I would
But-
like a good quality Hulk game. I think a Hulk game would be pretty good. I think if they explored like the Hulk's past, and if they explored, his like journey into becoming the big green man, that'd be pretty good.
Hulk would be interesting, and Hulk
Yeah.
would totally cater to that, God of War run around smash thing.
Yeah.
What do you think, Zenith?
Actually, if they made like, I'm actually thinking about a Black Panther, and I think like that, like if they utilize it very well, like think about how awesome it would be to explore an open world in Wakanda,
That'd be pretty
and
cool.
and like maybe like do things where, because like you see like in like you haven't seen the Black Panther movie, like they have that place where they were like mining vibranium.
Yeah.
So maybe like you can have like really fun side quests where you get like vibranium to like craft more tools and stuff like that. It'd be really, really cool.
This might be a crazy idea, but I'm thinking about your guys' answers. I think it would be interesting is if they took like Black Widow, and they went that whole route of like a Splinter Cell or a Metal Gear
Ooh.
Solid, but have it
That would
be,
be cool.
That'd be down.
That would be
Natasha.
cool. I'll be down for that.
Especially third person.
I'd be into
Gotta
that.
see that booty.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I'm thinking either Daredevil.
That would be
Daredevil.
fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, if you wanted somebody who's like similar to Spider-Man but also different, I mean, Daredevil has a lot going for him.
Yeah.
I would
Mhm.
love to play some Daredevil. Or if you wanted to go the route of, okay, we've played two heroes, maybe somebody now who's like not so much, maybe
Deadpool.
Punisher.
Yeah,
Punisher.
Punisher would be good.
We've already had a Deadpool game. I don't know if Deadpool works as a game, but
And he's never. I don't think he's had like a memorable
also I'm not a
game.
huge Deadpool fan, so
Fair
you're talking to
enough.
the wrong person. But
Yeah.
I say Punisher.
Daredevil would be
Punisher would be
very
pretty cool.
interesting because like obviously he's blind and you'd have to like use different like sonar and abilities to try and gain awareness of where your enemies are, and maybe once you are fully in tuned of what's actually going on where there's like a lot of sound, like it could be like black and white where the world is dark, but then like the moment you're in combat when you can like hear your enemies breathing and you can hear things bouncing off the walls, all of a sudden the world fills out and it's fully in color. You can see everything and you're just watching yourself kicking ass. And then as soon as when you're done, when your enemy is no longer breathing, then it goes back to, then it kind of like the color fades and it goes back to black and white because all of a sudden you're a blind man. You're not in combat anymore. There's nothing there. There's no threat.
I think a first-person mode too of that, like segments, like first-person segments of that, be really cool. Where you have to utilize sound in your headphones or your speakers or whatever to kind of like navigate.
Kind of cool if we went in first-person mode with Daredevil as well. If you actually see how he sees, to like with the location and everything, that'd be pretty cool.
And you can like maybe do things to try and like heighten not Deadpool's
Deadpool.
You put it in my head. You put it in my head. If there's ways to kind of like heighten Daredevil's abilities to hear and sense things and see the world when he can't physically see.
Well, and also I think Daredevil is also, he's a lawyer. So that opens up, he's not just somebody who's out here beating people up and, you know, or committing state sanctioned murder or whatever. He's, you know, he's actually got a day job. And I think that, I mean, in the sort of like Peter Parker-ish Spider-Man way, I think it'd be interesting to explore that as well as his superhero.
So you can like do more like,
it would be more like
investigative stuff, right?
It would be a little like Judgment.
There's a moral compass kind of there with him being a lawyer and all that stuff, you know.
And he's like, Catholic, so
there's like a moral compass. He's like, oh, is this by the law? Am I breaking? You know, like you can't escape that element when you think like it, because lawyers think like that all the time,
right?
You know, there's just always that element in there. We'll see what happens. The Black Panther thing, I'm really interested in hearing. I hope that rumor comes true, but I'll see how the Iron Man thing goes. It might be great. It might be like the Wolverine. See, we also have the Wolverine thing coming too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what to do with Wolverine. It's got to be R-rated. That it has to be.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm hoping it's more akin to like an Arkham, like a dark, gritty, you know, romp of beating bad guys up.
Yeah,
that would work.
So, okay, we got here, which is, Rachel, we'd love to have some of your insight on this here. Yeah. So you have more insight to these kind of avenues than we do here. So a follow-up to the Hellena Taylor story. It looks like, if just a recap here, she made claims that she was only offered X amount, I believe it was $4,000 to reprise the role in Bayonetta 3. And they didn't she didn't find that offer pleasing and it was insulting, and then she went on a Twitter post basically blasting Platinum and then also her replacement in the project, and urged people on the fence to purchase to go skip Bayonetta and go donate their money to a charity or some sort, you know, a cause. It then followed up where Platinum, I don't think Platinum made it directly, but Jason Schreier went
released a report.
Yeah.
Did they release a report?
It was corroborated by VGC.
Right. And then I saw the Jason Schreier post where he corroborated it too, and the claims were more like, no, they offered her $4,000 per session.
Yeah.
And I believe it was
4 or 5 sessions.
4 or 5 sessions, equating to about 20 to 25 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
And that was their claim. And then she counterclaimed saying that that's not what happened, et cetera, et cetera. And then now it came back, and I have it here. Jason Schreier has a screen cap from Helena's Twitter here saying, I posted on part 3 of my video. I explained that their first offer was too low. That offer was $10,000 total. This is a $450 million franchise, not counting merchandising. And then she wrote
she
in.
got caught lying.
She got caught.
Yeah, she
She
lied.
got caught lying. She
got caught lying.
which
Yeah.
really freaking annoyed
Right.
me.
So now you have to buy 3 copies of Bayonetta 3.
Yes,
Right.
one for yourself and 2 more for your friends.
And one more just for good measure.
Yes, so 4.
You know, and then she said, well, the powers, the higher ups stated they would love to have her in the game. She's a great contribution, etc. And that they offered her more money, an extra $5,000.
Yeah.
And then
And
she
the cameo
declined
spot
to
as
voice
well.
it. Yeah.
Well, she was offered the cameo after she declined the lead role.
Yeah, she was.
She offered she was offered the cameo. So this
And
is
that
a
was
while,
what she was offered $4,000 for, was to do the
Right.
cameo.
Yeah,
which
so she misled everyone.
misled everyone, because it sounds like she took that $4,000 and be like, this is all they're offering me, which clearly
Yeah.
isn't
Did you-
the case here.
Did you happen to talk about any of that stuff on Gamesbeat?
We did write an article. I wrote an article about the controversy. As a journalist, I have to be sort of present both sides equally. I will say, what she was offered, which would have been $15,000 for 3 to 4 sessions worth of work, that is standard industry pay for voice actors. So the what was also in the Bloomberg and VGC reports was that she was offered that. She countered that she wanted a 6-figure salary with residuals, which would be pretty much unheard of in the video game industry.
Yeah.
And that's when they sort of, let's just say, mutually decided to part ways. And again, this is all alleged. Nobody has come out with any official documentation of this. Obviously, Platinum is not going to. They have no reason to. Neither does Nintendo. But I will say I trust Jason Schreier's and Andy Robinson's reporting. They are rigorous journalists. They vet their sources.
They're very well known and respected too, at least in a professional sense. They're very
absolutely.
respected.
And I don't think they have no reason. By the way, one of Hellena Taylor's account, when she admitted that she lied, she claimed that powerful journalists were trying to bring her down. And so yeah, there was a by the way, she had also said before that it took about 16 hours in the previous to voice the character in the previous 2 games. I believe 16 hours per game. So 16 hours would have probably been the same. There's about the same amount of dialogue, I think, across all 3 titles in every game. So that's probably what it would have taken. And now, following all this, she's claiming that she just wants to leave the Bayonetta franchise behind, and she's encouraging people to donate who are still boycotting, if anybody's boycotting. I don't think anybody is at this point.
No.
But she's encouraging people who are boycotting the game to donate to certain charities. And let's just say certain charities whose values don't align with my own.
No. Mine as well.
No,
I think
not at all.
And I'm not going to get too into the weeds on that, but what rubbed me the wrong way back from the original Twitter videos she posted was the way she talked about Jennifer Hale, who is the current voice actress for Bayonetta.
Yeah.
She described her as a new girl and said that she had no right to call herself the voice of Bayonetta, had no right to sign merchandise as the voice of Bayonetta. And it was a very it was surprisingly hostile, considering that even in her own version of events, Jennifer Hale did nothing wrong. I mean, first of all, I was a little annoyed to begin with that you're referring to Jennifer Hale, who has hundreds more credits than you.
Right.
Because this woman has basically only ever voiced Bayonetta in the game world, and she describing her as a new girl. Okay, fine. Okay, Becky. And then, just saying that she has no right to call herself the voice of Bayonetta. She is the voice of Bayonetta. Whether you like it or not, it's not her fault that you were treated the way you were.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to try to take food out of her mouth. And also, I will say this, I have met Jennifer Hale. She is I think, an exceptional human being, and she has worked hard to try to make sure that voice actors are paid fairly for their work. So she has actually put in the work in her industry to try to make sure everyone is paid and treated fairly.
Yeah, the hardest part about all this is for any voice actors that are trying to fight for more fair pay, it's going to be more difficult because of the damage that Hellena Taylor has done.
Right.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. And there's another.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And there was like another point that he mentioned in regards to like the residuals. She was also claiming that Platinum Games is like 100. What was the number? Like a $97 million company?
No, she claimed that Bayonetta had made like a certain number. It's made millions and millions.
Millions.
Yeah, which it hasn't. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to say in my capacity, it has not made that much money. As much as the people who love Bayonetta, it is not a popular franchise. It is extremely niche. It has not made a lot of money. I think maybe she or her team was conflating the sales of Smash Bros. With Bayonetta, because Bayonetta is in Smash Bros.
Maybe she kind of used that. It's a misleading thing. Yes, she was in Smash Bros. And it's like, oh, you add that revenue, that makes it $450 million. It's not necessarily true. And plus, that's her number there. This is a $450 million franchise, her words, not counting the merchandising. But yes, they make $450 million, but that's not exactly how much Platinum and Nintendo take home. You know, after
because you still have to pay your employees and
you still have to pay to make the thing. So it's all. And then Jennifer Hale, she can say she's the voice of Bayonetta. She got hired. She took the job. She's the voice now. That's just how this Hellena Taylor thing. It's just one of those things where the positive out of this whole thing is that she did open the door to this discussion about like, okay, are these people being paid fairly?
Yeah.
Which I can't attest to because I'm not in that field. But when I look at the numbers myself and I look at, okay, we're looking at what, $15,000 to $20,000 for about 20 to 25 hours worth of work. In my head, that doesn't seem like a bad number. She probably has agent fees and stuff she has to pay, but
agent fees, yes. And I will also say for voice actors, I do agree that they maybe should get paid more because you can their work is actually physically taxing. I mean, it doesn't seem like it should be, but it basically, I mean, depending on what they have to do, like, especially because you have to do a lot of like loud, aggressive noises, like you have to do the screams, the battle grunts, all that sort of stuff. It's not an easy job to do. And you do run the risk of physical injury when you do it. So I will say that, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying they should be paid six figures plus residuals, especially considering that, you know, in the grand scheme of things, they don't even put in like even close to the most amount of work on a game.
Right.
But considering that, you know, let's just say if you do the let's say she did the 4 sessions, 4 hours a piece. 4 hours I think is the maximum that you are allowed to do sessions, but let's say that's probably her only work for the week. Because, I mean, depending on how hard the voice acting is, it can be very taxing to do it. So you might not necessarily, you might not necessarily be able to take on more work during the week because of that.
Right. I understand that here. And I'm looking at the SAG-AFTRA rate here, and they're saying it's averaging around $950 to $1,000 a day.
Right.
So the numbers that came out counteracting her claim, they don't sound far off from what the standard rate is, according to this paperwork here. Now, whether or not the SAG rate is lower than it should be, or, you know, that's up in the air. Like I don't necessarily, and I do agree with you that they have this job of they're repeating lines, they're putting this energy to a performance, etc. So, and then there's give and takes to that too, you know, compared to like a movie actor, they're not showing up on set at 6 a.m. in the morning for hair and makeup and stuff like that. So like
Right. Well, like I will say, like my opinion about the rates, that's based solely on somebody who's just doing voice work. Because in this environment, a lot of people do also facial capture, motion capture. Those are completely different.
No,
those
I totally
pay
agree
completely
with that.
differently than just voice work.
Okay, I see. Okay, that makes sense then. So those are considered a different type of performer versus just a voice actor. Okay.
Right. I don't know the pay rates for motion capture or facial capture. I only have voice acting to work from, but I'm given to understand, I could be wrong, but I think that they do get paid, that being paid you're paid separately for doing like motion capture work
Right. It's a
than
whole
you are from
different
voice work.
performance. Yeah. It's a different.
Because sometimes a voice actor who does motion capture work might have to come in and do the voice work separately.
Right. Because it's, and then there's suiting up and all that kind of stuff. And there's a whole multitude of things that go into capturing that work versus the voice. So that makes sense.
Yeah, because sometimes like to use this as an example, remember when Benedict Cumberbatch did the voice lines for Smaug the Dragon for The Hobbit, right? So when he was doing that, when you're pretty much on all fours, when you're moving around, it is very hard for you to clearly be able to use your diaphragm to project your voice and have it come out clearly. So like using Bayonetta as an example, if you're someone that's going to be like moving around and an awful lot, chances are like you're going to have to record separate lines because like there's a lot involved.
Well, the voice actor for Bayonetta doesn't do the motion capture. They have a separate person who does motion capture for her.
Right, because it's a Japanese studio, so like they probably record in Japanese first and then they add English voice acting.
Right.
I don't know. Well, no, I think they record in English, but they don't. The person who does motion capture for Bayonetta, well, first of all, the Bayonetta cinematics themselves, I don't believe are motion captured. They do motion capture for some of her actions, like the dancing, like any of the dancing she does. That I know in the first game she was mocapped by a woman named It's either Mako or Maiko. I can't remember exactly, but a professional dancer who did all of the sexy dance moves. And, it's amazing when you watch her work. It is incredible. But yeah, she actually did the motion capture for some of Bayonetta's in-game moves, but I don't believe the cinematics were actually motion captured. And I do believe that in Bayonetta, at least, the original one, they did it all in English.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Zenith where it's, these people, maybe we do need to go look at that and look at the rates and see if they do need to be paid more. But it sounds like from just Hellena Taylor's specific scenario here, it sounds like she overshot what she was truly worth. And then they rejected it. And then she kind of just got a sour taste in her mouth and was like,
Yeah.
I think that Hellena Taylor is a theater actress, and theater doesn't pay a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, this is pure speculation. I'm not speaking on the record or anything. I'm not speaking in my experience, my professional capacity here. But I think what probably happened is she was hoping that Bayonetta, which is her only real starring role in games, she was hoping that would fund her theater career. And that wasn't that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she isn't irreplaceable as the voice of Bayonetta. She did to her credit, the one thing she said in her original video that I wholeheartedly agree with is that she created the voice of Bayonetta. She did. That is true. She's the reason that we know the voice so well. She's the reason that voice is so intrinsic to the character. That is true. It doesn't mean she's irreplaceable, but I do think in this case she was kind of hoping it would be more of a cash, more of a source of income for her than it actually would have been.
Yeah. Another thing to consider, this is just pure speculation, is she's hoping for Bayonetta, just the voice of Bayonetta, to fund that, whereas Jennifer Hale does a lot of voice work for not just the Mass Effect series. She does like a lot of other stuff. She's a very hireable person. She's
an Overwatch.
Yeah, in Overwatch. Hellena Taylor, I only know her as previous voice of Bayonetta. I don't see any companies lining up for her. I don't see anyone really reaching out to her like, hey, can you voices? Sure, she has a wonderful voice that's absolutely fantastic, but she's got nothing. She's got absolutely nothing. Maybe companies don't want to hire her because
well, seeing how she handled herself professionally in this scenario, I can't want to hire her. I can't help but believe that if she acts like this, professionally when things don't work out her way, there's probably stuff behind the scenes and behind closed doors where people just don't jive with it.
Yeah.
because you don't like, this is just one of those things where it's like, you're a professional, you know. Charles Martinet isn't going on and blasting about Chris Pratt and how Chris Pratt is doing Mario. You know what I mean?
No.
And I would argue, Charles Martinet is the voice of Mario. He is Mario,
Yes.
right? So like, but he's not going out and blasting Chris Pratt because Chris Pratt got the role for the movie. He's not doing any of that, you know? And then Jennifer Hale gracefully is just like, hey, I support the people in this industry as a whole. And, you know, I just want to do a good job. That's basically what she's saying.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Speaking of somebody who's played Bayonetta 3, I don't know if y'all have played it all.
it's on my list.
It's on my list. I've asked for it for Christmas.
There are some slight differences in her performance of Bayonetta. It's a slightly different voice performance, but it's nothing that I'm mad at, honestly. Sort of let me see if I can pull this off. But like in the original games, when you activated Witch Time, Bayonetta would say, "Is that all you've got?" Whereas in this one, Jennifer Hale's Bayonetta says it more like, "Is that all you've got?" No, it's a slightly more strident.
Yeah, a little different tone and a different approach
I
to
feel
the
like
delivery of the
drinking
line.
tea with Jennifer Hale's version.
Yeah. You know, so.
But it's good. I like her performance. It's good.
I'm more intrigued to play the game now because of the ruckus that was caused by this thing. You know what I mean?
5 copies.
Yeah.
I will be honest,
Six.
when they announced Jennifer Hale, I honestly, I was like, I knew it. I freaking knew from the original trailer that was Jennifer Hale. I would know that voice in a coma.
It would rise from your coma. I know that voice.
And the other thing when we wind this discussion of this story down is the one thing when I was discussing with the other guys here last time we talked about this is it didn't make much sense to me that she was offered this rate that was insulting, but then they went and got an actress that would command the same rate, if not more. That didn't make much sense to me. Like, it doesn't make sense that they would offer her $5,000 to do the whole thing, but then go get an actress voice actress that commands probably a significantly higher rate.
Yeah.
You know, than the 5 that didn't make sense to me at all.
Like, it's Jennifer Hale, and the fact that they maybe quickly, we don't know how long the timeline was.
It was like a few days, I think, and then the cracks started showing.
Yeah, so like if Hellena Taylor was like, well, fuck this, we're walking away from this, I'm grossly underpaid, then no, I don't think anybody else, like, especially like that's high profile, like Jennifer Hale, would agree to this. So I don't know what she was smoking, but I'm pretty rest assured she has destroyed her voice acting career.
She has.
No one's gonna want to work with her.
No, I don't think so.
Unless it's one of those charities want to bring her on as a spokesperson.
Just the PR nightmare she created for both Platinum and Nintendo and all those parties involved. Like,
literally drove like the director of Platinum Games off Twitter.
Yeah,
literally.
And then Jennifer Hale got hate mail or hate comments and all this kind of stuff. Just, like, fandom's wild. Fandom is wild, and then all it takes is someone to open their mouth and really just.
Do you mean? Are you talking about Hideki Kamiya?
I believe that was.
Yeah.
He's back on Twitter. It just got his Twitter got deactivated for a little bit, and also he's the director. He's the creative director for their games.
Yeah, he actually explained on Twitter that it's not that he's like banning haters. It's just he doesn't speak English, and he doesn't want to respond to anyone who speaks English. So he just bans anyone that responds to him in English.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I'm more tempted to go play the game now because of this ruckus. So
I'm gonna play the game. I'm gonna play the game.
By the way, just letting you guys know, I should probably I have to go fairly soon, so I can go have dinner.
Yeah,
not a problem.
I didn't expect to be on this long, to be honest with you.
Sorry.
No problem. This happens a lot here. We just run on this.
Yeah.
We run on these tangents here. We'll get to this article here, and then we'll gracefully send you on your way here. So this came out of GameIndustry.biz. Activision Blizzard files motion to impound Albany union vote ballots. It's basically saying the publisher asked the labor board to postpone the vote tabulation. CWA calls the request frivolous. So Blizzard Albany, the QA team, which I believe was Raven, if I'm correct on this, they're scheduled to have its votes on unionization tallied on the 18th of November. So they're voting to go union, and then they're going to tally those votes on the 18th, if I'm understanding this correctly.
That's Blizzard Albany. Raven's QA department is already unionized.
Yeah.
Okay. Blizzard Albany's QA team. Okay, I just mixed them up here. So Blizzard Albany's QA, this is a completely different team. They're voting to have unionization, and then that vote gets tallied on the 18th. But Blizzard Activision is asking that the labor board postpone that tabulation. They filed the appeal, and then basically Activision Blizzard wants them to reconsider, ruling that the Blizzard Albany QA team would be an appropriate part. Wait. Oh, that's okay. Rejecting the assertion that the unionization vote should be instead held across the entire studio. So what they're saying is, if I'm understanding this right, the individual teams shouldn't be voting for the unionization. It should be the whole studio and organization as a whole.
That's what Blizzard is saying.
That's what Blizzard is saying. Blizzard is basically saying, like, hey, we should all be, if we're going to do this, we have to all be it. Not just these little pockets of these teams doing it. The Raven QA team is unionized. They voted on the count of 19-3. And I'm going to read this here. Activision Blizzard's motion in the Albany case states that counting the ballots and publicizing the results of the election before the appeal is heard could prejudice the voter pool if they were to later agree that Blizzard Albany should have studio-wide unionization. So they're basically saying if this QA team votes, it could sway the votes for a company-wide unionization, if I'm understanding this.
Oh no, what a nightmare.
Which Blizzard would absolutely.
What a nightmare. This is the same company that said we did our own internal investigation and found nothing wrong. This is the same company.
It's also the same company that, I mean, the reason Raven Software's QA team unionized is because a lot of them were laid off, and then mysteriously the ones who were rehired were the ones who weren't talking about unionization.
Yeah. Gee, that's not suspicious.
Red flag.
And then they hire a union busting attorney, right around the whole time that whole the sexual abuse and harassment allegations were going on.
All I gather from all this is like this whole industry is just a mess in terms of, especially in this big high developer, this whole industry is a mess.
Yes.
It's just been run by these people that it's frat house, like it's frat house mentality. And this doesn't just happen in the video game industry. A lot of these young, and by no means, I don't consider Activision Blizzard young in terms of company. They've been around for, several decades now, but you're seeing it a lot now with these young tech companies, your Ubers, your Lyfts, just as examples that have this environment of like, hey, we're young, we're youthful. We want your work-life balance to have the perception that we have a good time working here and all this kind of stuff. When behind all the scenes of it, it's just out of control and crazy,
Yeah. And they'll be like, hey, because you're young, this is a frat house. It's like you're not even on the job because, hey, we're video games. We're a video game company. And they're still making people work like 60, 70, 80, even hour weeks. My buddy was a game tester for Ubisoft, and he was pulling in at least 60 hours every single week, working 6, sometimes 7 days a week.
That's crazy. And I'm going to guess he was on a 40-hour-a-week salary, give or take.
Yeah.
Yep. When it's crunch time, they don't fucking care.
Right. And then the other thing that I think is always kind of a shady practice is you're hearing this a lot, and I can't confirm the companies that do or don't do this, but you read about it a lot where their bonuses are hinging on the Metacritic score or the reception of the game, which I think is just unacceptable in itself.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's still, Activision Blizzard especially has been terrible about this. I mean, their argument against Raven Software's QA team unionizing was the same deal, which is that it's too small of a team. They shouldn't be able to vote to unionize themselves. And the Labor Relations Board rejected that. The staff unionized 19-3. And the they're trying to do the same thing by claiming, because there are 18 members of the QA team at Blizzard Albany, and they're claiming that's too small a pool to vote, and that if they vote without everyone at Blizzard Albany being involved, then it could, sway everyone's opinion. By the way, can I read this response from the Communication Workers of America? Because this is gold.
As long as it's with conviction.
Yeah, she said, sadly, it's no surprise that a company that has repeatedly tried to silence its employees, including by hiding reports of sexual violence, would want to muzzle workers' voices once again by trying to stop them from voting in a union election. Workers have concluded that they need to protect themselves from this abusive employer by joining together into a strong union. Instead of staying neutral, Activision's management continues to present the same failing arguments in a desperate attempt to interfere with workers' legal right to make their own decisions about forming a union and negotiating a collective bargaining agreement. It's clear the company's executives feel threatened by workers organizing in New York, Wisconsin, and across the country. We are confident in the NLRB's response to these frivolous requests, and we will continue to push for Activision Blizzard's employees' right to organize without delay.
It's
good.
Douse them in gasoline and light them on fire.
Burn it all.
I have this question.
I'm still not over the sexual abuse allegations within Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
Like, I've still not forgiven them for that personally.
I grew up a Diablo fan. I was super excited for the Diablo 2 remake. I still can't touch any Blizzard games. Not until Bobby Kotick is thrown into the fires of Mountain Doom from whence he came.
I had to step back a little bit because I was like, do I go play the new COD? Do I not go play the new COD? But then I sat a second and I realized, oh, wait a minute, this is coming from this place. Like, I'm not doing this right now, right? I have a question for you, Rachel, before we send you on your way here. So with the whole transition to Microsoft happening, do you think...
If it happens,
because that's becoming an if right now, because... I personally think it's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
I personally think it's
pretty certain, but
if is the key word there. Yeah. If this happens, can they fix it? You probably have a little more insight into this, just being the journalist that you are. Can they fix it?
I think it would be hoping for too much to expect them to fix it. I don't see Microsoft necessarily replacing the top brass at Activision Blizzard. I think that when they go, it'll be because they want to. And, but yeah, when they go, it'll be because they want to. I think that Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard or they're trying to, because of the way it is, not because of the way they want it to be. I don't really have any professional insights onto whether they can fix it. I mean, it depends on, your definition of the word fix, but I think it would be a little bit optimistic to hope that when Microsoft takes over, things are going to be different around here.
Right.
I really don't think that's going to happen.
Because I had said on several casts ago, like, this stuff takes years to remedy and steer the ship and start correcting. Like, it takes years to navigate and resolve, to find out what happened. Why did it turn out this way? Why did we let it turn out this way? It takes years to figure all that out and navigate it and then put it on a straight line.
You so the idea for the old guard and like the old ideas and the old mentalities just kind of just run its course and replace with new fresh blood that's actually like more considerate of people's rights and everything that they're trying to like fix, because it's going to take a while. And especially when people like that hold such power, you can't exactly just be like, hey, you're a bad person and we want you to leave. They're like, no, fuck you, I like money. And you just kind of just wait for it to just run its course, or wait until like Microsoft. I mean, like, there'll be some changes. I'm just not sure if it's going to be enough. We're be patient. My mentality is just as long as Bobby Kotick is gone.
Yeah.
I think we'll see what happens.
There are some things they can do. I will say that, because the problem is that Activision Blizzard's culture is bad from the top all the way to the bottom.
Right.
Like, the parts that always got me were the allegations of things like at Activision Blizzard, they have rooms exclusively for nursing mothers to use. Great. That's awesome. That's something that we absolutely should have in a workplace. But nursing mothers were actively being kicked out of those rooms so that they could be used as meeting rooms. That was a thing that is, according to the reports, happened at Activision Blizzard.
Right.
That is an example of a company's culture being bad all the way to the core. That is something that, I mean, it can take little things to fix something like that, like making it like a punishable, if not fireable offense to do that, because that is, I believe, actually deeply unethical, if not illegal.
Yeah.
So that's an example of something that can be done to help fix the culture. It can start with small changes, and if Microsoft instituted changes like that, that would go a way towards fixing that whole trash fire.
Yeah, there's just a long road ahead, I think, for both. I mean, I personally think Kotick will be gone.
Yeah, he will be gone. Like,
I think he'll be gone. I think they just renewed his deal just to navigate this huge, the biggest deal in video game history.
Yeah, which is still a bit of a PR mess because they know that they're under fire, but they don't care because he's the guy that's bringing them money.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's what it is. He's steering the ship. He's getting everyone paid, and then.
And there's nothing that specifically ties him to any of these allegations. He can plead ignorance of all of it. And, there's nothing that specifically says he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Common sense notwithstanding, of course.
Right. Like, you're the CEO, this stuff goes on.
Right.
It's especially when it gets to the level when, if it got to the level where the state's investigating, you as a CEO knew this was going on.
Right.
It's not just one instance in a office in a state somewhere that you have, then that one instance happened and you didn't hear about it. Like, that obviously happens, but like it got to the level where the state investigated. As a CEO what's going on when it gets to that level. So, Rachel, we thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. We know we're gonna send you on your way here so you can enjoy the rest of your weekend. So we thank you.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for spending your time here.
I'm going to go off and have dinner.
Yeah, have dinner. Did you want to go ahead and just shoot your info off here to the listening audience?
Yeah, sure. You guys can find me on Twitter. My handle is @Rachel Kaser. I post all my stuff there. Anything that I do or anything that I write personally or professionally, it all goes through there. Also, if you want to see any of my stuff that is not necessarily video game related, I also do some blog posts on my personal blog about things like Golden Girls and Perry Mason. So yeah, I mean, I also talk about stuff that's not related to video games, which is always fun. But yeah, I should be having another one of those tomorrow. And then, so hopefully, and I'm also Grace of Athena on Twitch, and I'm starting to try to get back into streaming a little bit. I have to go find where I left my ring light, but yeah.
I got you covered.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you so much for your time. We'll go ahead and we'll link all that in the episode description when we go and post it. Thanks so much for your time. Enjoy your meal. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We loved having you.
Thank you.
Stay out of my cross.
Okay, I will. And I'm just going to go ahead and jump out of the...
Yep. Not a problem.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Ooh, I'm over here.
Yeah, you're back where you were. Well, we thank Rachel
changed.
for all her time. We appreciate it. It's nice having some insight from someone that gets more ears on this.
She's always a fantastic person to talk to. A lot of great insight from, not just from that side of the industry, but she's very well versed, well spoken. So I was thrilled that she agreed to do this with us.
I was excited to have had her here. Thank you for that, Zenith.
You're welcome.
Oh, I thought Dill froze. He literally had that work on his face. All right, let's get to the final story here because we did run a little long, but we're going to get to the final story here. Well, if you wanted it's okay, Zenith. It's not that scary. Well, no, I don't know. This is kind of scary. This is the final story of the day here we got. If you wanted a 4090 graphics card, you might want to buy a fire extinguisher with it because these things are causing fires in people's PCs.
Have you ever wanted to cook marshmallows? All you got to do is just get yourself a 4090 graphics card.
Yeah, baby, time to make s'mores.
So, if you don't know, this is some tech talk here, but this will help the listeners here in the audio world and some of us in chat here. when you buy a graphics card, it is the graphical processing unit in your PC. It's those big old long cards with the multiple fans on them. You see them all over Twitter, your Linus Tech Tips, your TikTok, your Tech Talk favorite people, the big old graphics cards, right? Now they've gotten so powerful that when you install them in the PC, they have their own lines of power that run to them from the power supply. They are no longer powered by the motherboard just alone. Now they have their own lines of cable that run from the power supply. These things use an enormous amount of power nowadays. It's rumored that the 4090 could hit upwards of 600 watts of usage at full tilt.
Ouch.
There's a lot of power.
A lot of juice going through that thing.
Yeah. So, on that note, what was developed was called the ATX 3.0 standard for power. And these are what these graphics cards adhere to in terms of power requirements. It's an ATX 3.0 power supply. These power supplies are still relatively new. There's only, as far as I know, 2 manufacturers that manufacture them. So the solution to that is NVIDIA was packaging adapters in the box that would allow it to work with your current power supply in your unit, assuming you had a wattage, powerful enough. Your 800 watts, your 1,000 watts, etc. So it looks like this came out of thegamer.com. It looks like what's happening is these adapters are catching fire and melting.
Yeah.
And can you reiterate what was the name of the company that was working with the NVIDIA cards before they stopped working in the graphics card department industry?
That was EVGA.
Okay, it's EVGA.
Yeah.
So NVIDIA is now doing their own stuff. So, and this is is this cable like brand new, or is it like exclusive to the 4090, or was it done before this new graphics card iteration? Iteration.
That's a good question. So the way this works is NVIDIA has always done their own thing. It's called a Founders Edition. If you buy a NVIDIA Founders Edition card, you're getting it straight from NVIDIA. It is their design. And then what happens is you have these companies like EVGA, Asus, Gigabyte. They're what are called AIBs. They're board manufacturers. They get the reference boards from NVIDIA, and then these companies will go and design their own cooling system, etc., for the cards. Yep. So at the core, and they'll overclock them a little bit and stuff like that, but at the core, you're basically getting a NVIDIA board, and the only real difference is the cooling mechanism to cool these things. Let's see here. Let me get an answer to your question. I believe this is a completely differently designed adapter. The 3080 did use I think it was in 10. You might be able to answer this, Dill. Is yours a Founders?
No, mine's an MSI.
Okay. Let me see.
I will say that currently it is using 3 plug sockets.
So you're using cables. 12 pins.
Yeah.
So it's using a 12 pins in cabling. I think the Founders Editions, I think they're using 10 pin. But I think what the problem is, I think it's using the same pin out. I could be wrong on this. Someone will have to correct me, but I believe it's using the same pin out, but the cable doesn't maintain the same wattage, or it can't handle the same wattage. And it also looks like it's a design flaw. Somebody went on Twitter and looked at, the person is Igor's Lab. They looked at the design of the adapter, and it looks like there's a bridging gap that tends to break, which is causing the grounding sparks. I'll put this here in the chat so you gentlemen, the Twitch chat, so you gentlemen can click that link there if you need to see it. But you can see it's just a standard design, pin design. And you can see it arcing and melting right there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's a 12-pin design.
Not
okay.
Good.
Yeah, it's a 12. You can see that second picture there. That thing's just melted.
Yeah.
Yeah, soldering on the pins is breaking, which is causing arcing, and it's sparking. And that's causing the melting and the catching of fire. This is incredibly dangerous, especially with the wattage that are coming through these things.
Oh my god! I just saw the bottom picture where it's like looks like the metal's all melted.
Yeah.
That is grotesque. Oh, crap.
Right. So just think about it. You're sitting here just playing, you're playing your Elden Ring or whatever at full tilt, and then you got, a space heater under you and a fire. But this is incredibly dangerous. I'm sorry, guys, never in my life, and I've been building computers for decades, right? Never in my life did I think that putting a graphics card in my computer would possibly start a fire.
Well, think about it this way. If you're playing Elden Ring, and if you notice that your character gets set on fire, and if you can feel the heat, then, it adds to the immersion of the experience.
It does add to immersion. 4D capabilities.
Yeah.
You're literally resting at a bonfire.
Yes, the fire
Yes,
giant
put your feet
toasty.
in the fire.
Yes.
So it's incredibly scary. So the solution, this seems to have been nailed down to the adapters. Like I said, there are manufacturers now. Your standard PSU manufacturers, EVGA, Corsair, Seasonic, they've all started to manufacture their own cabling, which directly goes from graphics card to power supply. There's no adapter.
Yeah.
These are straight line cables. One end plugs straight into the power supply, the other end plugs straight into the card, and that should.
I have seen this. Yeah.
Yeah, that should meet the standard. It just basically uses more outputs on your power supply to power this card. Like this is nuts, and I know this is more techie article, but because people hanker for these things every year, these things are just reaching this power level that's just way too much.
Yeah,
I mean, 600 watts out of a card is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm using I'm using an 850 power supply.
Like, I get it, they want more power, but they have to try and find a way to make that more efficient.
They do.
Like, to be under certain safety standards.
So this is some fun facts for you guys here. These are some things that 600 watts can power.
Go on.
Power inverter for a TV, charging laptops, and a coffee maker.
Okay.
An energy efficient refrigerator.
Ooh.
USB phones, tablets, Kindles. Run your roof vent during the day to stop condensation.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. Run a diesel heater during
A
winter.
diesel heater.
Yeah.
What the
I
hell?
thought you were about to say run these nuts.
So this is
That's a bit much.
Yeah.
I get it's a graphics card, but you don't need that much power.
a ceiling fan is 125 watts. An attic fan's 1,000 watts. That seems like a lot. That's 2 hours. Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. A blender is 400 watts for about an hour. Coffee maker, 894 watts for an hour a day. Like, this is a graphics card in a goddamn computer. The whole computer, a home computer, 500 watts.
The whole computer itself.
So
Yeah.
what's going to be interesting is these things have gotten so overly powerful that the graphics card is going to be basically the computer and no longer the components in the PC that the graphics card connects to.
So, if I may say, like it's absolutely impressive, like how these graphics cards are coming out, but it kind of feels like one of those things where the technology might be ready, but it's not ready yet in the sense of where it's efficient, where it's going to be safe, because like I feel that they can probably come up with something like this, like give it like a year or two, and the technology will exist out there to prevent it from using that much power or keeping it cool.
I think the problem is, my personal opinion, the problem with these things is these things get manufactured on a yearly cycle. The 4090, then we get the 5090, then it's the 6090.
I was surprised when I heard about the 4090. I was
Right.
like, wait, they're already made a 4090, but I only got my 3080 like a year ago.
Well,
What the
to
fuck?
be fair, the 3080 was a 2-year cycle, give or take, because of the pandemic. But
Yeah.
if it's been a traditional cycle year, you would have got the 4090 the next year. The problem with these things is we keep manufacturing these things when the technology and the developers haven't even hit the point where they can utilize the power that these things have. We're in this cycle of like, I want better graphics. I want this. I want that. I want this. And then they're like, okay, here's a graphics card that'll give you that, when the developer hasn't even gotten to the point of utilizing the power that's available.
Or they're utilizing a technology that they don't fully understand what it can do, or if it has like any pros and cons. Like I mean, like probably know the pros, yes, but they probably are not fully aware of the drawbacks because it's still new and they're just trying to rush it out the door.
Right, and it's weight, like the weight of these things, like. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but graphics cards, they sag inside the PC now. It's almost at a tilt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, mine does that.
These things have become so massive and large that, and it's sad to say, because like I was an enthusiast for the most part, where I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Give me the 6090 or whatever, hell yeah. And then you kind of realize you're like, dude, the biggest I play on is 2K.
Yeah.
Like a 2K monitor. I don't have a 4K monitor. Why do I need a 4K 120 hertz powerful graphics card?
No, we don't need that.
Yeah. And then the amount of money that they're charging. This thing's $1,600.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Fucking for a graphics card.
That's like double what I paid for mine. Actually, more than double.
I paid $1,000. Well, yeah, I paid like 900 or $1,000, and I thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, and all those crypto bros are gonna like snag it off, and they're gonna want to.
Well,
I don't think they'll touch this because it'll melt all their freaking servers.
Good.
Well, yeah, the power that
don't show them this article then.
Yeah, just don't watch
well,
this part.
all the crypto stuff. Realistically, the crypto stuff's been like buckled down on.
It has. That's why the graphics cards are now actually available.
So it's wild. And then AMD, who is the other manufacturer. They manufacture their own board design.
Yeah.
They just launched a what do they call that thing? A conference.
The 7000 series.
Yeah, they're launching the 7000 series, and you know what? It still uses the standard ATX power that we've used for the past 20, 30 years.
That, and it's under $1,000.
It's under $1,000, and it's getting close to the same amount of power.
Yep.
But we live in this market where name is everything, and everyone's like NVIDIA green, and you just realize like these people are getting conned into just pissing money away with all this power.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And the other interesting thing is we talked about earlier is like with the Steam Deck's going to set this bar of standardization where you're not going to necessarily need a 4090 to run the game. You know what I mean? It's insane to me.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat here just said that the AMD offerings, the 7000 series, is running at half the power that NVIDIA is. NVIDIA is literally just steroiding the shit out of these cards.
Yeah. NVIDIA's like more power.
And now we're going to have to go redesign a whole case design to fit these things. We've had the same case standard for 30 years, 40 years, and now we're going to have to redesign that thing to fit these things in them.
I feel like NVIDIA is that, like, that scene from Spider-Man 2 where Doc Ock is literally like trying to freaking contain the power of the sun in the palm of his hand. That's NVIDIA right now.
Also, we can play Disney Dreamlight Valley at 60 frames a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. And I'm just imagining, because like how big those cards are, like you're eventually gonna have this really wide PC where like all of your parts are all the way down here. They're like, if you take a look at like a city landscape, they're all like little buildings, your apartment, like your like 14-foot floors, and then here's your graphics card, pretty much like the tower or your Empire State Building of inside your PC case, and it's just fucking massive. It takes three. Yeah,
it takes
and then
three.
And then you're gonna start like installing like little like goofy looking bars inside your PC to kind of like keep up your graphics card to prevent it from like sagging or even falling.
Yeah,
out.
they have them. I have one in this tower because it sags.
Fuck.
It's a little like it's like a little foot that holds it up, you know. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
It's a table now. It's a fucking table.
It's I don't know, but like they used to take up 2 slots. Now the 3080 took up 3 slots, and now some of these 4090s are taking up 4.
Yeah.
I can hardly fit this shit in my computer, man.
I only barely fit my 3080 in my current case. I barely fit it.
Yeah, you're off probably by like an inch, maybe not even that.
Yes.
You're probably off by a half an inch.
I literally can look at it. Yeah, it's literally like there's a little guard thing that I have that like hides my cables management, and it's literally like an inch off from it.
People are insane, man. But that's it for this week, guys. Gentlemen, since this is the last one of the year for us, at least official podcast, it's been a fun year.
It really has.
I didn't get fired yet.
You didn't get fired yet? Well,
I didn't get fired even. I only got brought on to like episode 4.
I got news for you. Elon was inspiring me last night, so Zenith, I asked you check your email.
Oh no!
Oh no!
We're all gonna be thrown out.
I just lost access to like the podcast notes. Shit, guys, sorry.
No.
Morgan, check your email.
Yeah. He's going full Elon.
She's fired because she doesn't know how to make a fucking coffee.
No, she's taking your spot.
Oh no! That's even
She's
way worse.
Teach us how to make coffee, chat.
She checked. It's a coffee
You need
calculator.
6 tablespoons of milk starts off with.
It's a coffee calculator. 1 to 4. No one's fired. No one's fired. I already said if I had to fire anybody, I was going to tell Hannah she'd have to do it.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll be like,
the only thing that's fired is your new graphics card.
Yeah, that's the only thing fired up here. Hey, you want lit PC? Here it is.
I'm good for at least.
Who needs fucking RGB when you have actual fire inside your PC?
Yeah. Besides, if you fire me and hire Morgan, then you've got a true bottom of the podcast.
Oh yes.
Whoa!
Just saying.
I mean, everyone's under me at least. That's all I care about.
I could never fire Dill. You can never. Zenith, you're up in the air. Zenith gives me reasons too. And then I have to have those awkward bar conversations with him outside of here where I'm like, yeah, we're still friends. I just fired you.
I had this conversation with Zen. I don't even know how you two put up with me.
You're actually not a problem.
I'm not. Are you sure?
Neither is okay. I'm going to say full disclosure here because someone's going to listen and be like, Eric's an asshole. But I'm like, Zenith's not a problem either. Neither. But Dill has no reason to even be considering being a problem. Zenith gets wild, but Dill just... You apologize for being late. You're like, I'm so sorry I'm late. It was daylight savings time. And I'm like, oh shit, I would have missed that too.
Time.
I would have missed that too.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with the mic fiasco. I was like, that's not his fault. You know, like, well, it technically is, but it's like, hey, I wouldn't have caught that.
No.
You know?
Yeah, I literally checked everything as well with the webcam except for the Audacity program. Literally.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to segue this out here so we can go let you enjoy the rest of your weekend and the rest of your year. We're going to do other stuff.
Yeah.
I
think we should get together for when the Game Awards happen for sure.
There's also one other idea that I'm going to pitch to you guys, but I'm going to pitch it here right now. So how would you guys feel about getting together for like a little 30-minute, 1-hour conversation about some of our Christmas memories? Nintendo's under the trees, you know.
Yeah, I could do that.
You know, Grandpa giving you your cousin's hand-me-down Atari when he bought him the Nintendo, which is actually what happened to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got some good stories and some not so good stories to share.
Ooh. So we're going to plan some stuff out. We just won't be here in podcast form for the rest of the year. Like I said, due to scheduling, it's tough to get everybody in one shot on the holidays. So on that note, guys, the Good Friends, Good Games will actually be back next year.
Yep.
First week of January. I know I'll see you guys soon, but just so we cover the bases here, you guys all have a fantastic holiday.
You too.
Have a good new year.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
All the family here. We'll go say some love to the family here. We have Morgan, We have Carla. We have Leshki. We have Hannah. And then these two fine gentlemen, Zenith and Dill here. Pow, who also behind the scenes puts in so much input and offers so much help. You all really, really do help keep this thing afloat. And it's a big project endeavor, and I appreciate you guys all putting your time in on it. All of you.
And we have pretty good turnout for the podcast too.
Yeah, we're doing very, very well. That's why I also can't fire Zenith.
Yeah, you fire me, no one's gonna. I'm just kidding.
It's just gonna
people show up anyway.
I'm gonna Twitter this podcast and just be like, lay off everybody. So I'm gonna go ahead and segue us out here, guys. This has been the Good Friends, Good Games. We got Zenith and we have Dill, two fantastic gentlemen. Those of you that aren't here with us, Hannah and Leshki, we appreciate them too. They're a part of this family just as much as everyone else. You guys, we will see you all very, very soon. You guys have a good holiday and enjoy the rest of your year. Enjoy your time off. Eat plenty of turkey. Eat plenty of eggnog and unwrap plenty of
eggnog.
Eat plenty of eggnog, yeah. Drink it.
Just solid eggs.
Solid egg.
I like eat a ton of eggs, and I'm not the biggest fan of
eggnog.
Time.
Eggnog's so inspired. You have to cut open the carton just to eat it.
Yeah. Okay, I need to know. Are any of you guys eggnog people in here?
Yes.
I've never tried it.
What's it taste like?
It is kind of like a milky, creamy, where it's got a bit of nutmeg and spices in it. It can be really sweet. So actually, where you get it, what brand, really makes a difference, because I've had some that is so sickening sweet that I feel sick after having too much of it, and then there's some that's more lighter and creamier that is actually quite nice as long as you drink it slow.
Right.
Usually it's something where I would recommend throwing a bit of rum in it, or maybe even a bit of.
Does it taste eggy? Do you taste egg in it?
Eggy.
Not too much, but like I said, it still just depends on where you get it from
and who makes it. Yeah,
so you get what you pay for them, I would say. So go for a more expensive brand.
Okay,
if you want to try eggnog for the first time.
Eggnog, here we come.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, that's been that. We appreciate you all for hanging out with us. You can find this on Apple, Spotify, your podcast listening of choice. You'll find it up on YouTube, and we'll get some clips up on TikTok. And that'll wind out the year for us. You guys have been great. We appreciate all of you. Keep an eye on the notifications for when we do go live for something. And we'll talk to you all very, very soon.
Yeah.